Hey guys, welcome to Green Bean Fiction. So in today's video we are gonna see, what if Deku was last son of Krypton and fell for Momo? Part 1. This story is Izuku, the last son of Krypton by Broodyspnxcxr. Before starting, make sure to hit that like button and use the hype feature as it helps to reach more bnha fans. Now let's get to the story. In a galaxy in the far reaches of space was a red star, and orbiting that star was a planet called Krypton. It was known as the most advanced civilization in all the known universe, full of explorers, scientists, and a technology so advanced, some races could never even dream of existing, and the few that do, will call such things magic. It wasn't always like that. Krypton's beginning was written in the crimson glow of the Rao system, born of fire and ice. For millennia, it was a primordial crucible, its surface a chaotic ballet of volcanic fury and grinding glaciers. From this violence, the first life emerged, simple, tenacious things that learned to thrive in the planet's unique environment, drawing strength from its radioactive core. No one had any idea of knowing that this core, a complex elemental engine, would later become the source of both Krypton's greatness and its ultimate destruction. The first age of intelligent life was a species of immense, telepathic crustaceans. They built vast, psionic cities in the deep ocean trenches, their civilization lasting for 100,000 years. Their downfall was a slow cooling of the planetary core, which dimmed the psychic energies they fed upon. Their great group mind faded into silence, their cities becoming labyrinthine fossils buried under layers of geological time. Millennia passed. The humanoid form arose. The first of these new Kryptonians were explorers and mystics. They discovered a natural geological formation of crystalline growth, a structure impossible complexity. Within its shimmering depths, they found a sentient artifact of unknown origin. They called it the Eradicator. Many questions existed. What is the Eradicator? Was it a relic of the first race? Maybe it's a gift from the stars. Whatever it is, wherever it came from, its purpose was singular. Preserve the ideal of Kryptonian life, by any means necessary. This discovery marked the beginning of the Second Age, the Age of Expansion. Kryptonians, guided by the Eradicator's vast genetic archives, mastered bioengineering. They grew their cities, not built them. The great metropolises of Kandor, Kryptonopolis, and San City were living structures of organic crystal, designed to resonate with the planet's core, drawing upon its immense power for energy, light, and computation. Then, they took to the stars, seeding colonies across their system. They encountered other life forms, some peaceful, welcoming, some cruel and dangerous. Either way, all new life forms had knowledge and experiences Krypton did not. The different life forms shared resource, experiences, technology, and for a time, Krypton became the heart of a small, vibrant interstellar empire. However, like all things, nothing lasts forever. A philosopher named Bertrand, blinded by his greed for fame, his lust for power, wanted to create the perfect Kryptonian lifeform, but instead, he unleashed a horror upon the universe. On a desolate planet called B112, he used the Eradicator technology to subjugate an innocent life form, turning it into a test subject of absolute endless cycles of death and rebirth in a hellish environment. The result was not a perfect being, but a perfect predator, a creature born with an insatiable hatred for life and a monstrous body of adaptability. First it broke free from its confinement, then it slaughtered its creator, and then unbelievably flew to Krypton to begin its rampage. The Kryptonians named this monster Doomsday. It slaughtered everything in its path, young children, old men and women, no matter who or what got in its way, they were eviscerated. The most horrifying part, no matter how many times it died, it got up again, stronger than before, faster than before, and even more monstrous. It took Krypton's entire military might to finally trap it. Since killing it only made it stronger, they ultimately settled to launching the monstrosity into the void of space in a photon coffin, hoping and praying it would never be released again. The incident shook their faith in unchecked expansion and biological tampering. This incident, the fear, the anxiety, the lack of knowledge, is what birthed the Third Age. The Age of Isolation. The ruling council increasingly became conservative and arrogant, until finally, they recalled all off-world colonies. They turned inward and came to believe their own society to be the absolute pinnacle of evolution and culture. The Eradicator, once a guide, became a warden. Its programming for purity was interpreted as law. Society, restructured into a rigid guild system, artisans, scientists, legislators, warriors, laborers, with each citizen's path in life not allowed a choice, but determined by genetic predestination from birth. For a while, Krypton thrived. It became beautiful. The greatest mind of this age, Jor-El of the great house of El, saw the cracks and the flaws the others willfully ignored. As a high member of the Science Guild, he had access to the planet's deepest sensors. That is how he discovered what the Council was refusing to. Krypton's core was failing, slowly becoming unstable. The very energy they had been harnessing for millennia was reaching critical. As a result, the geological pressures from centuries of resource extraction and energy siphoning was creating a chain reaction. He pleaded, he presented the irrefutable data, he practically begged them to stop, to find a way to save their planet, their race. But the Council wouldn't hear it. They were trapped in their own foolish dogma. To them, Krypton was eternal. To suggest otherwise was heresy. The guilds, once engines of great progress, were now sclerotic and jealous of their domains. The military guild saw Jor-El's warnings as a ploy for the Science Guild to gain more funding. The legislators debated the legal implications of evacuation until it was too late to build a fleet. Then their jealousy turned into anger. Anger turned into hatred. Hatred turned into violence. Then finally, their violence turned into war. This war drained the already struggling planet core even more, and unfortunately, like all things, it did not last forever. People were running around in panic, screaming as the ground beneath them began to break apart. Buildings began to collapse all around. You could hear the screaming and crying of some children. "Help! Mama! Papa! Please don't leave me! It is chaos all around." Yet one man in battle armor is calm. Unfortunately, it's not a "everything will be okay" kind of calm. It's more of a "everything is about to be over" kind of calm. This man is Jor-El. He is currently running with a small infant with emerald green hair and green eyes, crying and wailing in Jor-El arms. This boy is Jor-El's only son and heir to the house of El, Kal-El. Jor-El had designed a vessel for his son. He and his wife, Lara, would send their only son, Kal-El, to a distant, primitive world, Earth. They filled the ship with the Eradicator's genetic records, the entire cultural and biological history of Krypton, contained in a single crystal drive. This was so that their son could learn about himself and his people when the time was right. As the planet began to shudder, its magnificent cities cracking like eggshells, Jor-El placed his son in the ship. Holding his crying wife in his arms, he looked upon his infant son. "Farewell, my son," he whispered, his voice thick with a grief he could not fully express. "May your journey be safe, and your future be bright. Make a better world than ours, Kal." Lara, still crying but with a sad smile, planted a gentle kiss on her son's forehead, making the baby giggle. "Be safe, Kal," she whispered, her voice strong yet choked with sobs. "Always remember, my baby boy. Mommy loves you." Once the goodbyes were said, Jor-El put in the coordinates of a distant planet in the Milky Way galaxy orbiting a yellow star. Earth. Jor-El and Lara watched as the ship pierced the atmosphere, a silver arrow aimed at the yellow sun, just as the core of Krypton reached its tipping point. Jor-El looked lovingly at his wife, cupped her cheek and rested his ear on her forehead. "You are the greatest woman I have ever met." His voice was full of love yet resolute as he recited their last vow, "May we stay together as the house of El." Lara, with a smile on her face and tears streaming down her cheeks, finished her husband's words, her voice full of love and hope. "Until death do us part." Then, the shockwave of the planet's death rippled outwards, turning a civilization of unparalleled beauty and tragic arrogance into a cloud of cosmic dust. Krypton's history is over. Their planet is gone. But the last son survived. On the planet Earth, in the city Musudafu, on a small land lived a loving couple. The man, who looked to be in his late 30s, has messy black hair, grayish eyes, has a small black birthmark just below his eyes, a plain button-up shirt with jeans and sneakers, and a cowboy hat on his head. This man is Hisashi Midoriya. He is a well-known farmer, has a good amount of friends, sells vegetables, owns and takes care of any animals, and married to the love of his life, Inko Midoriya. Inko looks to be in her early 30s, has dark green hair, green eyes, is slim but not fit, and is known by her friends as super kind. Everybody loves her. Inko and Hisashi married life seemed perfect. Sure, money was tight, but they had enough to get by, and their love is stronger than it had ever been. However, One tragedy broke Inko and Hishashi's spirit. Inko is unfortunately infertile. They tried to have a child for years only for nothing, and finally they went to the doctor only to learn the troubling news. This broke them. Inko more than Hisashi, as she always wanted a child, her own child to love and hold in her arms. One night Inko was just blankly staring into the sky at the stars. It had been months since she learned she was infertile, and the news of knowing she can never have her own biological child is eating away at her spirit. The empty nursery with its freshly painted, gender-neutral walls. It echoed in the polite, careful way Hisashi and Inko spoke around the subject, the dream of a child they could not have slowly solidifying into a permanent, aching absence. Hisashi walked up behind her, gently placing a hand on her shoulder. "Hey," he said, gently placing a hand on her shoulder, his voice full of sadness but resolved to comfort his wife. "How are you holding up?" Inko just turned around facing her husband before bursting into tears, crying into his chest. Inko had always been the crybaby, but this was a kind of cry Hisashi worried she would never come back from. Until Hisashi noticed a light in the sky. A shooting star. Hisashi, wanting to distract his wife from her pain and sorrow, said, "Honey, look, it's a shish." However, his words stopped abruptly when he realized that shooting star was getting closer and closer, as if it was heading in their direction. Acting on protective instincts, he shook his crying wife in a panic. "Honey, we got to move." His voice came quick and louder, his panic clear, "right now." Inko, startled, looked up and saw the same thing as screamed and bolted away with Hisashi as the shooting star crashed in their field. A distant, earth-shaking thump vibrated through the floorboards, creating a lot of smoke and dust which made visibility in the area impossible. It had come down in the small, tidy field behind their house. Husband and wife exchanged a single, wide-eyed glance, a silent communication born of years of love and shared sorrow. Wordlessly, Hisashi grabbed a heavy flashlight, and Inko, a thick blanket, her heart hammering against her ribs for reasons that had nothing to do with fear. The dust slowly settled, revealing a large crater. Nestled in a crater of scorched grass and steaming earth, was a vessel. It was sleek, unlike any aircraft or capsule they had ever seen, crafted from a pearlescent metal that seemed to absorb the moonlight. Etched on its side was a strange, elegant symbol that resembled a stylized S. Hisashi and Inko's eyes were so wide, you would think they were about to fall out. Hisashi spoke first. "It's some kind of spaceship." His voice was hesitant and wary, already thinking of hundreds of ways to protect his wife. Inko, however, felt something calling to her. She could not look away from the ship. She slowly walked towards it, her steps hesitant, yet determined. She moved with purpose. "Inko, are you crazy?" Hisashi yelled, walking a few steps behind Inko, worried about his wife. Inko reached the ship, and placed her hand on it. A hydraulic hiss broke the night's stillness. A seamless portion of the hull retracted, vapor venting with a soft sigh. Inside, cradled in a soft, pulsating light, Hisashi immediately stood next to her, ready to protect her from anything. But inside the ship was a baby, an adorable little baby. The baby hair was an emerald green, his baby cheeks were chubby, he was wearing a pink onesie wrapped in a red blanket etched with the same symbol. "He is fast asleep." Inko and Hisashi gasped, seeing the cute little baby. Inko's hands flew to her mouth. She fell in love with this baby at first sight. The baby woke hearing the noise, and his emerald green eyes, once closed peacefully in sleep, immediately filled with tears, and he began to cry. "Wah quadruple a ah, wah triple a ah ah, wwaaaaaaahhhhhh." It was a sound Inko's very soul had been yearning for. Every maternal instinct, every hope she had carefully packed away, erupted to the surface in a tidal wave of need. She didn't think, she acted. Rushing forward, she ignored the strange craft, the impossible situation, and reached into the pod. She gathered the crying infant into her arms, his small body surprisingly warm and solid against her chest. She wrapped the blanket tightly around him, blocking out the cool night air. "Shish, shish now, little one," she cooed, her voice instinctively dropping into the soft, melodic rhythm of a mother. "It's all right, you're safe now, don't you cry, everything is going to be just fine." And it worked. The little baby slowly stopped crying and looked at Inko with its emerald green eyes. She rocked him gently, humming a half-remembered lullaby. She felt Hisashi's hand on her shoulder, his own breath caught in his throat as he watched, his flashlight illuminating the scene. The baby's wide, wet eyes focused on Inko's face, as if memorizing her features. Seeing his tears dry, a wave of pure, uncomplicated joy washed over Inko. She found herself smiling, a real, genuine smile for the first time in months. She shifted him in her arms and began to gently tickle his stomach through the blanket. "Who's a brave little boy? Who landed all the way out here just to see us?" she whispered, her voice laced with a teasing affection she thought she'd never get to use. A sound, small and miraculous, filled the air. A giggle. It was a bubbly, happy sound that seemed to make the very stars above twinkle brighter. The baby cooed, his tiny hands reaching up towards her face. Inko looked up at Hisashi, her own eyes now filled with tears, but these were tears of a hope so fierce it was painful. "Hisashi," she breathed, her voice trembling with a conviction that brooked no argument. "He has no one. He's ours. He was sent to us." Hisashi looked from the impossible pod to the baby in his wife's arms, a baby who was now clutching her finger with a surprising strength. He saw the light in Inko's eyes, a light that had been extinguished for too long. He saw the way the child looked at her, with a trust that was already absolute. A slow smile spread across his face, and he nodded, placing a protective arm around both of them. "He is," Hisashi agreed, his voice thick with emotion. "He's our son." Inko looked down at the child, at his green eyes that mirrored her own, and made a promise to the universe, to the stars that had delivered him, and to the boy himself. She does not care where he came from. She does not care what he is. This is her son, Izuku, she whispered, testing the name she had chosen years ago. "Your name is Izuku." It all began in China. In Qingqing City, there was news a child whose body radiated light was born. Ever since then, superpowers kept appearing all around the world one after another. Eventually time passed, yet no one could figure out the cause of this unbelievable phenomena. Eventually the supernatural became normal, dreams became a reality. It got to the point where at least 80% of the population of the world developed these unique traits. These superpowers were called to the world as quirks. Then in the times of chaos, the profession everyone respected and admired was brought into the limelight. Heroes. People gaining superpowers also resulted in a truly massive increase in crime. With how slow and ineffective law enforcement had become, more and more brave people used their abilities for heroic acts. Soon heroes were accepted and it became an official position. Depending on their performance, the government pays them for their work and their popularity soared among the masses. Schools were even created all around the world to help train future heroes. However, one hero, one amazing man, stood at the top of the hero world, his speed and power so unbelievable you would think he is the definition of power, his words comforting and reassuring, and he never loses that radiant smile of his face. His real name is unknown, but everyone knows the name. All Might, the symbol of peace, a pillar of support for the world. Everyone knows him as the strongest, the fastest, the world's greatest hero. Most looks up to him, admires him, hell lots of people wants to be him. He is most known for two signature phrases. "Everything's fine now, do you know why? Because I am here. Go beyond, plus ultra." Those words resonate in the hearts of many, inspired the hearts of many. It gives people a sense of peace and inspires hope. And that's what our protagonist hopes to inspire as well. This is the story of how a boy discovers his true origins and went on to become a symbol of hope for the world. How he became Superman. In the city of Musudafu, on a small farm on the outskirts of town, we see a small green-haired boy looking no older than 3 or 4 just sitting outside on the grass. His eyes are closed, his posture so still you would think he is a statue. Sunlight shines on his body with a beautiful golden glow, making his emerald green hair seem more colorful. He can feel the air around him, the wind, blowing from his left to his right, yet he does not shiver from the cold in the slightest. He can feel the softness of the grass beneath his fingertips. He can hear the sound of his own thoughts, his own inner world. He can feel the sun shining on his body. He feels so energized, so relaxed as if stepping out from a nice sauna bath. His name is Izuku Midoriya. Izuku was always a strange child in the eyes of others. He never seemed to fit in with anyone. He was always very shy and recluse, always hiding inside himself. He was also very quiet and soft-spoken and he never looked anyone in the eye. Because of this, the others would often call him weird or strange, and no one wanted to be around him. No one wanted to play with him. No one wanted him to be in their groups for group work, and then the rumors began to spread. He was called a loner, a freak, a reject, etc. Izuku did not really seem to mind. He seemed to always be in his own little world, unaffected by anything or anyone. He loved being underneath the sun, taking in the deep breaths. He would always have a smile on his face. For some reason, he would always feel a strange pain in his heart, as if he lost something precious and could never get it back. The pain would only last a few seconds, but just long enough for him to notice. However, his solitude ended soon enough. His mother had called him one day. She was standing next to a stranger. The stranger was beautiful. Her hair was a spiky blonde and her eyes were a ruby red. She was slim, had a good figure, and smiled at Inko as if they were best friends, which they seemed to be. This woman is Inko's neighbor and best friend, Mitsuki Bakugo. Izuku has always felt especially nervous around strangers, adults more than anyone. They would tower over him, reaching their hands out to touch or pat him. It was always too much for him. His mom greeted the stranger excitedly, her voice full of affection. "Inko. Mitsuki. How have you been, girl?" Mitsuki chuckled, her voice equally affectionate. Mitsuki. "Hey Inko. I've been good. Just got off work and Masaru has yet to finish for the day." She sighs and holds her forehead as if she was having a terrible headache. "Seriously, I keep telling him to take time off, but no, he just loves to work." Mitsuki kept going on and on about this Masaru and work. He did not really understand, but he tuned her out as his gaze locked on the small child standing with folded arms by Mitsuki's feet, his face etched with irritation. His hair was the same spiky blonde, just messier, and his eyes were a bit darker red than Mitsuki. He really looked like he would rather be anywhere else until he noticed Izuku and tilted his head in curiosity. The boy gently pulled his mother's jeans and asked, "Little boy, hey mama, who's he?" Inko was surprised, finally noticing the little boy, and Izuku just stared at him. Mitsuki looked down and said with a laugh, "Mitsuki, oh I'm sorry, I forgot to introduce you. Inko, this is my son, Katsuki." Inko gasped, "I never knew you had a kid. Well, it's nice to meet you, Katsuki. Now the both of you can meet my little Izuku." Izuku gave them a shy wave before hiding behind his mother again. Mitsuki's eyes went wide. "This is your kid. But I thought you Sue." Inko cut her off, looking down with a bitter smile. "Inko, I still can't. I adopted him." Mitsuki smartly did not say another word, seeing the pain in her friend's eyes. Wanting to catch up, she looked at Katsuki and said, "Mitsuki. Katsuki, why don't you and Izuku go and play upstairs?" Seeing nothing wrong with it, Inko nodded in agreement, saying, "Inko. Sure, why not? Izuku, go play with Katsuki upstairs, okay?" Izuku did not know how to feel. On one hand, his mother was asking him to do something. He does not want to say no to his mother. On the other hand, he was nervous about this new stranger, but ultimately his love and respect for his mother won, so he nodded and walked upstairs. Katsuki followed him. Both boys made it to Izuku's room and it became silent and awkward. Both boys did not know what to say to each other or what each boy liked to do, so Izuku sat on his bed in the corner while Katsuki looked around. Noticing an All Might poster on the wall, Katsuki's eyes widened as he asked, "Katsuki. Whoa, is that a poster of All Might?" Izuku's face lit up at the mention of All Might. Like most children, he sees All Might as an idol, someone he hopes to be like someday. He looked at Katsuki with a small smile and nodded. Katsuki happy said, "That's so cool. When I grow up, I am going to be the #1 hero and win just like him." He raised a fist in the air with a confident smirk. Izuku gasped, his admiration for Bakugo growing. The confidence, the determination, the absolute belief in his words was something he only saw in All Might. For the first time ever, Izuku took the initiative to support and asked, "Izuku. Well, if anyone can do it, I am sure you can. You wanna be friends?" Izuku hesitantly held his hand out to Bakugo. Katsuki looked at Izuku's hand before smiling and nodding, said, "Friends." And just like that, a friendship was born. Katsuki had come over to Izuku's house many times after that and they became the best of friends, basically brothers. Katsuki defended Izuku when they called him names, introduced Izuku to his friends, though Izuku does not understand why Katsuki calls them lackeys. They became so close Izuku started calling Katsuki Kachan. Their bond was unbending and unbreakable. At least that's what they believed. Until their quirks came in. Izuku Pav. Kachan got a quirk called Explosion. Apparently he can create explosions from his hands. The explanation from the doctor was much more complicated. He sweats nitro, nitroglycerin or something. The word's too hard to pronounce. I was happy for him, truly. He is my brother, and now he is one step closer to fulfilling his dream of being a hero. Of course I praise him too. Izuku. Wow Kachan. Your quirk is amazing. I can't wait to get mine. I don't know why, but I always had the strange feeling my quirk has something to do with the sun. I don't know the reason, but something about the sun on my skin feels good. Kachan looked at me with a confident smirk and said, Kachan, whatever it is, it still won't compare to mine. You'll always be behind me. I was confused by his statement. That was an insult. He is practically saying he will always be better than me. Is he truly that confident no matter what I will always be behind him? Or is it something else? I am not sure, but I try not to dwell on it. After school Kachan walked to the forest holding a stick and popping explosions from his hand. His friends and I followed behind him. He was singing a song he invented and he looked proud of it. Kachan. Forward march and here we go, members of the agency Bakugo. Then all of a sudden, he tripped and fell in the water. His friends started laughing at him. I didn't laugh. How could I? It looked like a very long fall. What if he was hurt? Or worse. So I ran down a path to where he was and held my hand out to him and asked in a worried voice. Izuku. That looked like a pretty bad fall, are you okay? He seemed stunned, like he had not expected it. Then he turned angry. Like really angry. He harshly slapped my hand away, yelling that he was fine and he didn't need my help. I didn't understand why he was so angry. Did I do something wrong? I thought of all the things we did that day and could not figure out what I did to make him so mad. He ignored me for the rest of the day and his friends were making really annoying comments, but I just tuned them out. I figured I would just give him some space and we could make up tomorrow. I didn't know it at the time, but our friendship was practically over. My life went downhill pretty fast. I went to the doctor with mom and I was diagnosed. Quirkless. Yep. I was declared as part of the 20% of the population who did not have a power. I'll be honest, I cried. I thought this meant I could not be a hero. I could not be like All Might. I could not be confident. I could not save people. But more than anything, I was confused. If I have no powers, then what are these feelings? Why do I have this strange connections to the sun? Why do I feel like something is calling out to me? Like I am forgetting something of vital importance. So many questions I did not have the answers to and it was driving me insane. I also don't know why Kachan changed so much. He started openly insulting me with his friend and decided to call me Deku. Apparently it's a way my name can be read and the term means useless. Then the insults started from the rest of the class. The teachers did nothing to stop it. Then it escalated into physical harm. Even then the teachers did nothing. I didn't know what to do, but I learned some sad truths about the world. All men are not created equal. Life does not care how old you are, how you look, how you act, it will still come at you full force. Pain does not wait for anyone, it's somebody everybody feels. You could be 4 or 40, it doesn't matter. However, I can't understand. For some reason, nothing they did ever hurt me at all. Izuku Pav. At first it started with little things. A tiny scrape on my finger somehow healed itself. I was ecstatic. I thought my quirk came, so I asked Dad to take me to the doctor only to hear the same result. Quirkless. Strangely, my father still believed me even after the analysis and asked me to let him know right away if anything else happened to me. I was confused, scared and wondered if I just imagined it, but I trusted my father. If I didn't imagine it and something actually happened, he would be the first to know. Then something happened that really solidified it for me. Kachan and his group of friends were bullying a girl. The girl was pretty, her hair was tied in a neat ponytail and she was wearing a cute pink dress which was smudged in dirt. She had a few bruises on her, most likely from Kachan and the others. Now I really didn't understand him. The Kachan I knew, while he speaks very highly of himself, always says he wants to be the #1 hero. What kind of hero bullies an innocent girl? Heroes protect and save the innocent. Fear, grief, loneliness, physical trauma. Their job is to save everyone, to make them feel hope, to let them know everything will be alright and then move heaven and earth to make sure that it is. So why is he doing the opposite of that? I couldn't accept what was happening. So I stepped in. I was scared, shaking, but stayed in front of that girl. All I could think was I had to save her. I did not want her to be hurt. Honestly, part of me wanted to just run away, not experience the pain I would most likely receive in the next moment, to just go home to mom and dad, to their beautiful loving smiles, to help dad with farm work, but the other part of me just wanted to protect her, hold her in my arms, shield her from their cruelty and make her smile. I wanted her to feel hope. Izuku, stop Kacchan, this is cruel, can't you see she's hurt? Kacchan smirked. Out of the way Deku, what can a weakling like you do anyway? I closed my eyes but didn't back down. I couldn't. I stood ready to brace anything. And of course they did not disappoint. Punches, kicks, explosions from Kacchan quirks. The girl screamed behind me. Clearly she was frightened, begging them to stop. But I didn't feel anything. Literally, the punches, the kicks, I didn't even notice them until I opened my eyes. Kacchan explosions, they tickled. Honestly, if not for the current situation, I would have laughed. I guess they got tired after a while because they all stopped. Their breathing was heavy and their hands were on their knees, clearly exhausted, but the way Kacchan's friends looked at me, it was pure absolute terror. They ran away without a second thought, screaming, "Monster! Freak! Villain! I didn't even do anything, why were they screaming that?" I looked down at myself. I could not understand why I felt fine, but more than that, what part of me made me a monster in their eyes? Kacchan's reaction was completely different. His friends were terrified. He looked betrayed, angry, disgusted, and all of it was directed to me. "Kacchan, he whispered. I didn't hear what he said and he suddenly screamed it, full of rage and disbelief. "You liar, you had a quirk this whole time." I froze. What the hell was he talking about? "I am quirkless, the doctor said so, twice." "Kacchan, you must have been looking down on me this entire time." "Well, guess was Deku. I am better than you. You're just a disgusting bug that I am gonna squash, just you wait." That's the last thing before he ran away. I was shocked. I never looked down on him. It was the opposite. I looked up to him. To me, he was so cool, so full of confidence, determination. It was something I desperately wanted, yet I didn't have it in the slightest. I heard a soft, female delicate voice from behind me. The girl, "Hey, are you okay?" I turned around to see her looking at me with concern, slight shyness and admiration. I froze. I've never spoke to a girl before, especially not one so pretty, so I was a stuttering pathetic mess with my words. "Izuku, oh, why yeah, I am, lime, I am mean fine, what about boo, I mean you." The girl eyes went wide for a bit but she giggled and told me she was fine. She bowed to me. "Thank you for saving me. My name is Momo Yaoyorozu. It's a pleasure to meet you." She smiled so brightly at me, and I felt my heart skip a beat. I smiled at her. "My name is Izuku Midoriya." I was surprised at how confident my voice was in that moment. However, my head started hurting, really badly, and I felt my eyes start to burn, so I closed them hoping the pain would go away. Momo became concerned immediately. "Momo, Midoriya, what's wrong?" In that moment I opened my eyes and a beam of heat erupted from my eyes. It hurt, so much that I screamed. Momo screamed as well. Luckily I was not looking at her, I was looking at a tree. I didn't know what to do. I was terrified, in pain, but luckily for me it didn't last long. It only lasted about a minute before the heat faded and headache went away. Momo ran to my side in an instant asking if I was okay. I told her I was fine and I opened my eyes, looking at her. No heat came out of them. I felt fine and she saw I was fine and we smiled. But when we looked at the tree, our smiles faded. The heat ray that erupted from my eyes burned a hole right through the thick wooden tree like nothing. I was shaking in fear. I really didn't know what was happening, especially when the doctor declared 2 different times I was quirkless, so I did the only thing I thought was right. I said goodbye to Momo, promising to see her again, and without even giving her a chance to say anything I ran home. Dad was chopping wood in the barn, sweat beading on his face as he rested his axe on his shoulder as he sighed and picked up another piece ready to chop again. That's when I ran in screaming and crying for him. Izuku. Daddy. He looked my way in an instant, he dropped the axe and I ran right into his arms crying really hard. Hisashi. Hey, what's wrong bud? Izuku. The tree, heat, I was crying too hard, I couldn't calm down well enough to speak properly so Dad just held me in his arms comforting me until I was able to calm down, which took a little while. Then, I explained the situation clearly to him, well as clearly as my child self could. Izuku. Daddy, there was this girl who was being bullied. I saved her, the bullies attacked me but the attacks didn't hurt me, even when one of them used their quirk on me, they ran away, then my head started hurting, my eyes burned and a heat ray erupted from my eyes and tore through a big tree thicker than the wood here. I am scared Daddy, am I monster? Dad was shocked, no that's too lenient of a word to use. He was in pure disbelief, then he called Mom who was cooking inside the house into the barn. He explained the situation to her and she was just as shocked but she hugged me while bursting into tears. Inko. Oh my baby, you not a monster, you're my little star, my beautiful boy, don't you forget that. I felt the warmth in her words, and I cried in her arms, I missed the nods that Mom and Dad shared. When I finally stopped crying Dad put his hand on my shoulder and said seriously. Hisashi, son, your mother and I have something important to tell you. I looked at them, nodded and listened. Hisashi, you're not our biological son, you're adopted. I froze, disbelief all over my face. I knew what adoption meant, I learned it in class. For someone to be considered adopted, it means your parents are not your real parents by blood. I started to cry and I asked. Izuku. So, I'm, and not your son. Mom hugged me instantly and reassured me. Inko. Izuku, you are our son. It does not matter if we don't share blood, or if we don't look similar or whatever stupid test says otherwise. You are my son, my little star, and that will never change, I promise. I felt so reassured, I believed her. This was my mom and dad, I would not trade them for anything, but then. Dad dropped another bombshell. He and Mom led me to a small place underneath the barn. It was just a small room full of dirt and buckets. The most noticeable thing was something big under a tarp. Dad removed the tarp and I saw something that made my jaw hit the floor. It was a spaceship, it looked so advanced, so futuristic, I had never seen technology like this before. Hisashi, son, we found you in this when you were just a babe, Dad had begun and I looked at him in shock. Mom had continued. Inko. Izuku, you came from another planet, I don't know where you come from, or why you were sent here, but we only know we found you in this ship as well as this. Mom reached into the ship and pulled out a beautiful looking crystal, kind of shaped like a diamond, it was glowing. It looked so familiar, and it felt like it was calling out to me. I wanted to touch it and Mom let me, the crystal glowed brighter when I touched it and Mom smiled a bit bittersweet. Inko, we were gonna wait until you were older to tell you, but with what happened earlier we could not wait any longer. My emotions were all over the place. I understood my parents' actions, so I was not angry, I also understood something. People fear what they do not understand. That was proven today when Kachan bullies ran away calling me a monster. Dad looked at me seriously. Hisashi, son, you can never tell anyone who you truly are. If people learn the truth about you, they will take you away. Humans can be violent and extremely cruel, especially to things they don't understand. They may try an experiment on you. Promise me you won't ever say anything to anyone. I felt scared hearing Dad's words but I understood he was saying this out of worry so I nodded. Izuku, I promise Daddy, I won't tell a single person. He nodded with a smile. He and Mom also promised they would help me find answers when I am a bit older and I am patient enough to wait. The next day, Momo came to my house with her parents. How they found out where I live, I had no idea. Dad and Mom greeted Momo parents and they had me show Momo my room. I led her upstairs, and she was being a bubbly bundle, enjoying the sights and jumping on my bed. I let her have fun but strangely I still heard what mine and Momo parents were talking about. At first the conversation seemed normal, they wanted to thank me for saving their daughter and brought compensation. It amounted to 5 million. Wait, what? 5 million? That's a really big number, I can't count that high. My parents tried to refuse but Momo parents were really stubborn so they had no choice but to accept. Then the conversation turned to my powers. It seemed Momo parents investigated me because they knew about both my visits to the doctor saying I am quirkless and the fact that I am adopted. My parents tried to play it off, but it sounded like Momo father pulled a piece of paper out of his shirt, which made dad and mom gasp. Then they sighed and told them everything about me. I didn't understand. Weren't we supposed to keep everything secret? Are they gonna take me away? I got scared, so I ran out of my room, leaving Momo confused, and ran to dad, hugging him and crying. Izuku, Daddy, are you sending me away? Please don't send me away. All the adults were shocked. Clearly I heard their conversation, yet I was upstairs. Momo father, Izuku right. Don't worry kid, Noah's taking you away from your parents. I looked up at him with big teary eyes and asked, Izuku, really? Momo father smiled kindly and nodded. Momo father, really? I just wanted to understand and help you find out where you really came from. By then Momo had walked in, hearing the last part, and was confused. Of course we explained everything to her, and she was shocked, but then, she had stars in her eyes. She looked at me with pure admiration. It turns out she always wanted to meet an alien. I just made her dreams come true. God, she was so cute. The adults noticed me blushing and started laughing. I felt embarrassed. The years continued. Time flew by. I was homeschooled after day. I also helped dad with work on the farm. Momo family came by almost every day, and both out families became really close. I also got really close with Momo. Okay, I admit, I have a huge crush on her, but I don't want to ruin our relationship just in case she does not like me. She is my best friend, so I have not told her. Plus I was also very insecure. She is beautiful, kind, rich heiress who literally has the power to make any non-living things she wants. How could I compare to that? I also gained more abilities and more control of my heat vision, as I call it, when I turned 12. I can run faster than the speed of sound. I can lift a tractor like nothing with one hand. I don't feel tired. I don't get sick. I can hear things from miles away. I can see things most people can't see. When I turned 13, I started working part-time at Mr. Yaoyorozu company. Turns out I was actually much smarter than I thought I was, and I had a knack for business. Mr. Yaoyorozu seemed proud of me and helped every step of the way. I would be lying if I said I did not get special treatment, but the special treatment was giving me more work and harder tasks each day. The pay was really good and the work was hard, but I did it. I felt smarter every day. All of this just proved how different I really was. Then when I turned 14, tragedy happened for me. Mom, Dad, and I wanted to spend some time together, so we got in our truck and went driving. At the time I was in my rebellious phase. I was desperate to be a hero, and I let that blind me. Dad was driving. Mom was in the back with our dog Krypton, who we brought with us. I was in the front and me and Dad were arguing. Izuku, I just want to do something useful in my life. Dad countered back. So farming, helping the Yaoyorozus, that's not useful. Izuku, I didn't say that. Hisashi, my family has been farming for generations. Izuku, if I had known what was about to happen, I would have never said these words. No, regardless, I should have never said these words. Izuku, yay, your family, not mine. Why the hell am I even listening to you? You're not my dad. You're just some guy who found me in a field. Inko was appalled by words and yelled from the back, Izuku. Hisashi stopped her. No, that's okay, Inko. Izuku has got a point. We're not your parents. But we have done the best we can, and we've been making this up as we go along, so maybe out best isn't good enough anymore. When I heard this, I felt guilty. I didn't mean what I said. I truly didn't. It was just pure frustration and the words slipped out. I was about to apologize when Dad suddenly stopped the car. I looked forward and we got out of the car, leaving Krypton inside. A pileup of cars started to begin behind us as people got out and say the same thing we did. A tornado began to form. Hisashi, go for the overpass. Everyone started to panic and run for the overpass, and Dad yelled it again. Hisashi, go for the overpass. I listened and ran with Mom and lots of other people to the overpass. Dad stayed by the car helping and leading people to the overpass, like a hero would. Where are the heroes? I heard one woman ask. That was a very good question. Where are the heroes right now? I saw Dad run to a car and grab a child out of it, running with said child's mother to the overpass. They arrived, all were safe and sound. Then of course, Mom remembered. Krypto's still in the car. Hearing that immediately started going. Izuku, don't worry, I'll get him. But Dad stopped me, handing me the child. Hisashi, no, get your mom to the overpass. Then he ran back for Krypto. I carried the child and went to the overpass with Mom. Once my task was done, I looked at Day, who made it to the car, while the tornado got closer and closer to him, picking up debris and cars. Then one car hurled out of the tornado, and landed on Dad's car. It didn't crush it and managed to get inside before it crushed him. Mom wanted to run to him, but I held her back, telling her it was okay, but I was truly worried for him. Dad managed to open the car door, letting Krypto out, who ran towards us in an instant, full speed. But Dad did not get out at the same time. He got out around 10 or so seconds later, and he looked injured. He was limping and had to lean on the car, unable to walk to us. I steeled myself. Who cared how many people saw me? Who cared what it'd have to reveal? That was my dad. I had to save him. Dad saw me walking to him and held his hand out, telling me to stop. And I froze, looking at him in shock as he smiled at me and Mom. It was the kind of smile you made when you know you're going to die. Everyone watched in shock as the tornado picked up the rest of the cars, Dad included. He just vanished. I was trembling now. Mom was crying her heart out, but I was shaking. Tears fell from my eyes and I screamed. My voice was broken, raw, full of pain. Izuku. Dad. I felt the stares behind me, all of them looking at me with pity. I didn't care. I just watched my father die. Then All Might arrived, and punched the tornado, successfully destroying. Most people began cheering for him. He was standing for the crowd, hands on his hips with that big smile on his face. As if my father did not just die. I was so angry. Where was he earlier? I wanted to hurt him so bad. I was so angry at him for not being there, but more than that, I was angry at myself for letting my father die. Izuku Pav. 1 year later, I never forgave myself for what happened that day, or for what I said to him. I can't even say how many times I went to the cemetery and apologized. Mom never recovered. She fell into deep depression. Momo and her family came offering their support. It was always the same thing. It wasn't our fault. You did all that you could. He would not want us like this. I tried to be there for her, to ignore my pain and be there for her, but it was not enough. Eventually Mom couldn't take it anymore. I had just turned 16 a few days before I found her. She had overdosed. I called an ambulance, but she was dead before she even made it to the hospital. All that was left was a will and a letter. The will was simple enough. Everything they owned belonged to me, the farm, their money, the furniture, etc. The letter was a different story. I was afraid to read it. I didn't even touch it. One day I was just drinking coffee, staring at a picture of us for who knows how long, when Momo came over, still in a middle school outfit. Momo. Hey Izu, how are you holding up? Izu is the nickname she came up with for me. Normally I would blush every time I hear it and my heart would start to race. But now, I don't feel anything, I just feel empty. But I still replied anyway, my voice much flatter and more emotionless than expected. Izuku. I'm fine. Momo flinched hearing my tone. She looked so worried about me. Momo. Izu, you haven't left your house for a week. Izuku. Oh, had it really been that long? I hadn't noticed. That was my only response to her words. I didn't even twitch an expression or react when she hugged me from the side. Momo. I can't even begin to understand what you're going through, but please, let me in. You saved me all those years ago. You became the most important person in my life. You carried me through the darkest moments of my life, and right now it's killing me that I can't help you through this. I know she is just trying to help me, that much is obvious. I can tell how worried she is, but. Izuku. I killed them. My voice was barely a whisper, but she heard it and she frowned. Momo. What? Izuku. I could have saved Dad that day, if I just went for him, if I just didn't listen. They would still be alive. I could tell him I'm sorry for saying you're not my father. I'm sorry I ever talked back to you. I'm sorry I didn't find Mom earlier, but more than anything, I was full on crying in her arms. My voice was chocked with sobs. Izuku. I love you. Momo's heart dropped hearing how much pain I was in, and she did not say anything else. she could only hug me tightly as I cried my heart out to her. I cried for a really long time. When I calmed down, my eyes were red and swollen from crying and I apologized. Izuku, I'm sorry Momo, But she cut me off by pressing her lips to mine in a gentle, loving, comforting kiss. I froze before kissing her back. When we broke apart, we were both breathing heavy, blushing, and she held my cheek gently. Momo, I am always here for you. Izu, I love you. I nodded. I love you too. I hugged Momo before asking if she could stay. I wanted to read Mom's letter. Of course she agreed. I opened it. Mom told me her true feelings in this letter. My dearest Izuku, if you are reading this, then I have finally found the courage to do what I should have done a year ago. I have gone to be with your father. Please, please, do not blame yourself. This is not your fault. Nothing that happened to us was ever your fault. It's been a year. A whole year since the tornado took Hisashi from us. I look at the calendar and I still can't believe it. Some days, it feels like it was only yesterday that he was laughing in the kitchen, making his terrible coffee before heading off to the farm. Other days, it feels like 100 years have passed since I last heard his voice. The world has felt so gray and silent without him. But my pain, Izuku, is nothing compared to the pain I have watched you carry. I have seen the light in your eyes dim. I see the way you force a smile for me, how you try to be so strong, how you hold it all in until you think you might break. You have been trying so hard to be my hero, to fill the empty space he left behind, and I have been too lost in my own grief to truly see it. That is my greatest failure. I was your mother, and I was supposed to be the one holding you. I was supposed to be your shelter from the storm, but I let the rain soak us both. When you needed me most, I was not strong enough. I saw you drowning in sorrow and I could not be the lifeline we needed. For that, I am so desperately sorry. I thought time would heal us. I thought if we were together and if kept our lives moving, that the ache would lessen. But the ache inside me is a void that nothing can fill. It is a constant, crushing weight, and I am just so very tired, Izuku. I am tired of pretending to be okay. I am tired of the annoying animals on this farm. I am tired of waking up every morning to a world that doesn't have him in it. I need you to understand that this is a choice I am making for my own peace. I am going to where I hope I can find your father again. I am going to escape this unbearable pain. It is a selfish act, I know. The most selfish thing a mother can do. And I am leaving you to bear the weight of your secrets and cruelty of this world all alone, and for that, I will never forgive myself. You have always been the best part of me, my little star. My brilliant, kind, brave Izuku. You have a heart bigger than anyone I have ever known. You were born to be a hero, and you will be a magnificent one. Do not let this break you. Please, let it be the thing you survive. Let my love for you, and your father's immense love for you, be the foundation you build the rest of your beautiful life upon. Live for both of us. Be happy, make friends. Find out the truth of your origins. Find the love of your life. Save the world with that incredible heart of yours. Every time you help someone, every time you smile a real, genuine smile, I will be there. Your father will be there. We will be so proud of you. I love you more than all the stars in the sky, my baby. I have loved you from the moment you arrived on this planet, and I will continue to love you long after my last breath. I truly am so sorry I couldn't stay. I can only hope someday, you'll forgive me for leaving you. With all the love my soul can give you. My little star, Mom. I thought I could not cry anymore, yet, tears still somehow managed to fall from my eyes, but unlike before, the emptiness in my chest, the gaping hole I thought would never be healed, started to heal, not completely, but, I felt myself getting better. I also knew what I had to do. Izuku, Momo, I'm gonna go find out the truth about myself. Momo just sighed. I had a feeling you would leave sooner or later. I looked down. I will admit, I was hesitant to leave, especially when Momo and I just accepted our feelings for each other, but this is something I need to do. Izuku, I know this is selfish of me to ask, but will you wait for me? Momo just smiled warmly and gently kissed me, which I melted into before breaking it and resting her forehead on mine. Momo, for as long as it takes. I smiled. I really didn't deserve this girl, yet I love her so much. I changed into a simple green jacket and black jeans with black shoes and went to find the crystal. It was still in the same place Mom left in. I knew once I did this, there was no going back. I took a deep breath and steeled my resolve and grabbed the crystal. Suddenly the crystal glowed so brightly I had to shut my eyes, covering them with my hand before suddenly I was in the Arctic. WTF. I looked around, pinching myself to see I was not dreaming. How the hell did I get here? I looked at the crystal in my hand. It was still glowing, just not as brightly. I didn't feel cold in the slightest, a perk of my heritage I'm assuming. All I could wonder was, what the hell am I supposed to do now? Suddenly the crystal flew out of my hand. It went straight into the ground some meters away from me. In the next second, the ground began to crack. I could only stare in shock as something came out from the ground. It was crystals and they built something. The crystals built a castle, a large gorgeous castle towering high. No, not a castle. A fortress. My jaw practically hit the floor. Is that mine? I wondered. I went towards it and on the door of the fortress was a symbol. It was a weirdly shaped S. I'm sure I've never seen it before, yet, it looks so familiar to me, like it means everything. Ignore Superman and just focus on the symbol. I placed my hand on the symbol and the door opened for me. The inside did not disappoint me. There were multiple different areas of the fortress. I explored, finding multiple designs and weapons I had never seen before. I say a large docking bay, most likely for my ship. I'll bring it here soon enough. However, one room got my attention the most. It was really dark, but strangely that was not a problem for me. It looked like a command console with multiple crystals, one of which was not inserted. Something in my body told me, inserting this crystal would give me all my answers, so I steeled my resolve and with all the determination I had, inserted the crystal and the once dark fortress lighted up and a man appeared before me. He was wearing a strange yet familiar outfit and he looked at me with pride. I hesitantly took a step towards him. Who was this? My mind telling me to be careful, yet I felt so at ease around him, like I knew him somehow. When he spoke, his voice was deep, strong, yet gentle but full of knowledge. Question mark, question mark, question mark, quote. To see you standing there having grown this much, he smiled and nodded. If only Laura could have witnessed this. I cautiously asked, Izuku, who are you? Question mark, question mark, question mark, quote. I'm your father, Cal. Hold up. My what? That's what I was screaming in my mind and I let my shock show on my face. The man continued. Question mark, question mark, question mark, quote. Or at least, a shadow of his consciousness. He started to slowly walk around me. My name is Jor-El. I asked in slight awe, finally learning my birth name, meeting my birth father. Izuku. Cal. That's my name. Jor-El smiled and nodded. Kal-El, it is. Izuku. I have so many questions. That was the truth. I did have so many questions. Who am I? Why did you send me here? Why didn't you come with me? This was my chance to finally get answers. Izuku. Where do I come from? Why did you send me here? Jor-El. You came from Krypton. He began to explain. Behind him a diagram of Krypton appeared. It looked so lifelike and I listened and watched intently. Jor-El. A world, with a much harsher environment than Earth. The diagram continued to change as the explanation continued. Long ago, in an era of expansion, our race spread out through the stars seeking new worlds to settle upon. Your scout ship, the one we sent you away in, is one of thousands sent into the void. We built outposts using great machines to reshape environments to our needs. For 100,000 years, our civilization flourished, accomplishing wonders. I was confused when I heard that, if Krypton was flourishing then. Izuku. What happened? I asked. I just had to know. Jor-El continued explaining. Artificial population control was established. Artificial population. What does that mean? Jor-El. The outposts and space expeditions were abandoned. We exhausted our natural resources. As a result, our planet core became too unstable. Eventually, our military leader, General Zod, attempted a coup. By then it was already too late. My mind was processing all the information that was given to me. It honestly sounded like something I would watch in a movie, yet this was the truth about me and my planet, and there was still more to the story. Jor-El. Your mother and I foresaw the coming calamity, and took certain steps to ensure your survival. He led me through a corridor and stopped at a certain place. Jor-El. This is a Genesis chamber. All Kryptonians were conceived in chambers such as these. Every child was designed to fulfill a predetermined role in our society, a worker, a warrior, a leader, and so on. I thought about that statement. I always believed your destiny was your own, that you can choose to be what you want to be, but Kryptonians were literally born to do this. No choice in the matter. It was a bitter pill to swallow, but whatever. Jor-El. Your mother and I believed Krypton had lost something precious, the element of choice, of chance. What if a child dreamed of being something other than what was intended for him or her? What if a child aspired to something greater? So I am not the only one who questions this. Nice to know my biological parents found fault with this. I can certainly tell you I do. Jor-El. You are the embodiment of that belief, Cal. Krypton's first natural birth in centuries. It's why we risked so much to save you. I understand why he saved me, I understand why he sent me here, but one thing I didn't understand. Izuku, why didn't you come with me? I started walking with him to another part of the fortress. Jor-El sighed. We couldn't, Cal. No matter how much we wanted to, no matter how much we loved you. Your mother, Lara, and I were the products of failures as much as Zod was, tied to its fate. So in the end, Izuku, I'm still alone. Jor-El shook his head. No, he stood in front of me. You're as much a child of Hearth now, as you are Krypton. You can embody of both worlds. Suddenly a chamber opened up beside me, revealing a suit. It was black with hints of gold, the same strange S symbol in green and gold on the chest, and a green cape on the back. I looked at it surprised before looking back at my birth father. Jor-El. The people of Earth are different from us, it's true, but ultimately I think that's a good this. That means they won't necessarily make the same mistakes we did. Not if you guide them, Cal, not if you give them hope. Jor-El pulled open his robe, revealing the S symbol he wore on him. Jor-El. That's what this symbol means. The symbol of the House of El means hope. Embodied within that hope is the fundamental belief in the potential of every person to be a force for good. That's what you can bring them. Hope. That's why I felt so at ease with this symbol, why looking at it always feels right. It's what I always stood for, what I always wanted to stand for, giving people hope. No one pav. Izuku walked out of his fortress of solitude dressed in the suit in the chamber, his green cape blowing in the wind. He was walking in the snow, remembering his birth father's words. In his head, Izuku, why am I so different from them? He asked his birth father. Jor-El replied, Earth's sun is younger, and brighter than Krypton's was. Your cells have drunken its radiation, strengthening your muscles, your skin, your senses. Earth's gravity is weaker, yet its atmosphere is more nourishing. You've grown stronger here than I ever could have imagined. The only way to know how strong is to keep testing your limits. Outside his head, Izuku looks down at his hands, curling them both into fists before looking at the sky in determination, and he jumped high before landing and jumping again. Each jump he made, he was getting higher and higher before making one more jump, pointing his hands in the sky, wanting to fly. He felt himself start falling, so he straightened up more with a grunt and felt himself start to fly, so he started to laugh until he lost control and felt himself not to fall. He started saying no when he noticed he was about to crash into a mountain, and covered his face and crashed through the mountain and into the ground. Izuku reached out of the hole he was in and claimed out with a serious expression. He was fine. Not a single scratch on his body. He started walking again, his birth father's words resonating in his mind. Jor-El, you will give the people of Earth an ideal to strive towards. They will race behind you, they will stumble, they will fall, but in time. Izuku stopped walking and looked in the direction of the sun. Jor-El, they will join you in the sun, Cal. Izuku closed his eyes, feeling the power of the yellow sun before crouching down. Jor-El, in time, you will help them accomplish wonders. Izuku's fists were planted in the ground and slowly some snow and rocks started to levitate before. He shot up from the ground and began to fly up in the air before flying straight like a pro, letting a smile appear on his face as he flew faster and faster with every second, creating a sonic boom, as he flew over the Sahara close to the ground, dodging the animals before flying even faster before flying over the ocean, creating two more sonic booms as he flew terrifyingly fast. Then he flew through mountains and flew through a canyon, turning and flying through each one with a wide smile on his face. dodging through the canyon before shooting up before stopping in the air letting his hands rest at his sides looking down at the ground with a smile before shooting up flying through space able to breathe perfectly fine looking at Earth with a smile before flying back. Izuku flew back to his fortress flying in the doors where the consciousness of his birth father was waiting with some robots and simulations. Jor-El, are you ready Kal-El? Izuku nodded. A fresh wave of determination settled in his chest. Izuku, I'm ready. Jor-El smiled proud of his son, then let your training begin. Time skipped 3 years. Momo Pav, I miss him. It's been 3 years since my boyfriend. Izuku went off to learn the truth of himself. Not a day goes by where I don't miss him. I always knew he was special, and it was not because of what he is or where he came from. I could care less. I could see what was in his heart, his kindness, his love, his determination to protect people and give them hope, his ability to see the absolute best in everyone. It's one of the many things that made me fall in love with him. The UA entrance exam was coming up. UA is a hero school Izu and I promised to apply too. I'm getting in through recommendation but Izuku had to do the exam himself. I haven't heard anything from him since he left. It'd be lying if I said I wasn't worried. He was so heartbroken when he left. He lost both his parents. He must have felt so alone. I wish I could have spared him that. I had my maids clean his house for him every week while he is gone and I hired some farm workers to take care of his farm. I don't want Izuku having to worry about anything here while he is gone. Dad still kept adding money to Izuku account even though he is not working. Like me he worried about Izuku. I mean, they did grow really close. I'm sure Dad sees Izuku as a good son-in-law or whatever. If I didn't love Izuku with all my heart I would punch my dad for how annoying he is. As for me, I trained, I studied, finished middle school with high marks and took care of Izuku place. I took up martial arts and read about more materials so I could make more with my quirk. Right now I'm in Izuku room reading on the bed. It's night time. It's about 3 days before UA entrance exam. I'm reading calmly until I spotted a picture framed on the desk. It was me and Izuku standing side by side with smiles on our faces. It's made me feel both happy and sad. Momo, Izu, where are you? I felt tears forming in my eyes. No Momo, you're stronger than this, don't cry. Suddenly I felt a gust of wind behind me before someone hugged me from behind. Question mark quote. Did I make you wait long? I froze, not out of fear. I recognized his scent. This feeling. My heart started to race as I turned around to see him. It was Izuku. He looked older, more mature. He was dressed like a hero with a cape and strange S on his chest, but it was still him. He looked at me with a gentle smile on his face. I couldn't hold back. I threw myself into his arms crying on his chest just calling him over and over. Momo, Izu, Izu, Izu. As an heiress it was truly shameful of me to act this way. Normally I should act with grace and elegance. I should never lose my composure, but right now I don't give a damn. He came back to me. Izuku gently wrapped his arms around me and he spoke, his voice, calm, full of love. Izuku, I'm sorry I took so long. I shook my head in his chest before pulling away and smiling at him. Momo, no, don't worry about it, I'm just glad you're back. I then took a good look at his suit and said, Momo, hey, nice suit. Izuku smiled brighter and did a small spin showing off saying thank you. Then we sat down and he told me everything that happened in these 3 years. I was in disbelief at his words. I was happy he met his birth father. I was shocked to learn he had a fortress and I am glad he is back. We shared a loving kiss. Suddenly he took my hand. Izuku, Momo, come with me, I want to show you something. I was confused but I followed anyway. He led me to the window and opened it. We stood by the window and he held my hand. Izuku, Momo, there aren't enough words to say how much I love you. We have known each other for years, we've been through a lot together and I honestly can't imagine my life without you. With everything I've learned, everything I've been through, I know no matter what I can do anything with you by my side. Then he suddenly pulled out a beautiful ring. I gasped at the sight. He got down on one knee. Izuku, Momo, I can't marry you yet, because we still have to finish high school, but I want to give you this ring as a promise, that no matter what I love you, I will always love you to the very end of time, and I want to marry you. If you accept this ring, you accept my promise to love you forever and to believe in you forever. Do you accept? My hand covered my mouth and tears started falling from my eyes as I nodded with a blushing face. Momo. Yes. Yes, 1,000 times yes. I put on the ring and hugged him. Then he started floating in the air and I gasped, but he reassured me. Izuku. Don't worry, you're not gonna fall. I looked into his beautiful emerald eyes before leaning in and kissing him, which he reciprocated. Thank you God, or whoever is out there, for bringing this man into my life. Thank you Jor-El for sending him here. Thank you Auntie Inko, Uncle Hisashi for raising him. And thank you Izuku for saving me that day, because you just chained my heart to yours forever, and the key to set it free, you just destroyed it today. No one pav. Izuku and Momo finally officially entered a relationship. Unfortunately they did not have the time for a date or anything like that, as there was still much to be done. They were very busy for the 2 days left before the entrance exam. Izuku had to bring the scout ship back to the Fortress of Solitude, where with the help of his birth father, managed to repair the ship, making it fully operational. Jor-El designed the scout ships. He was known as the greatest mind Krypton had to offer, so there was and still as much he can teach to his son. During Izuku training, he did not just master all his abilities, he learned about the history of Krypton as well as the different advanced types of technology at its disposal. One of Jor-El's very first lessons to Izuku was the importance of a strong mind. In his words as quoted, Jor-El, the greatest weapon one can have is their mind, what they think, how fast they can think it, how complex and logical the thought may be. All of these are things that can and will win you all future battles, my son. This is one of the many lessons Izuku took to heart when he began training. It also helps that as a kid, he admired heroes to the point where he would study and analyze their quirks, creating potential weaknesses and improvement strategies that were scarily accurate. When it comes to technology, Izuku actually inherited his bio father's talent for inventing. With the help of Jor-El, Izuku managed to create 2 unbelievable inventions, the first being nanotechnology that he uses to form his suit with just the push of a button. He used the watch his adopted dad Hisashi gave him as a base and took it apart, making the nano and allowing them to absorb and rebuild the watch. It still looks and tells time the exact same, but with just one push of a button, the nanobots flow down Izuku's body, forming his hero suit. The watch also acts as a portal watch. He turns the circular dial at the top and it will form a purple portal behind him, teleporting him to a set destination. The downside, he has to set destinations first, and destinations can only be set if he has been to set destination, which for him would not be a big issue, just more annoying than anything else. The button on the top right allows him to form and deform his suit. The bottom right opens and closes the portal. The middle right is for the normal watch. You turn the metal rim at the top of the watch to set the destination. The next one is an AI which he calls SAIKO, Super Advanced, Intellectual Kryptonian Operative, or just Psycho. Izuku built Psycho into the scout ship and let the AI verify him as its master. It works just like Jor-El consciousness in the fortress but has a lot more functions. Like Jor-E has all of Izuku and Krypton memories and information. As an artificial intelligence, it can make its own choices and has its own thoughts, and is continuing to learn information about Earth, which Izuku freely allows, even giving it his phone to hack into and download part of her consciousness so it can travel with its master and learn more. It also downloaded part of its consciousness into the watch so it can be with its master at all times. Izuku honestly treated Psycho so well, it truly cares about Izuku as much as its AI power core can care about a human. It fully devoted itself to its master and will obey his every command without question, with the exception of his life being in danger. With the remaining day, Izuku caught up on some theory as well as his farm work and part-time job. He also learned that Mr. Yaoyorozu wanted to get him in the school with recommendation, same as Momo, but Izuku kindly refused it. In Izuku's mind, this was his chance to prove himself with his own ability, knowledge and skill, plus it also makes him feel like his adoptive parents raising him the way they did was worth it. Izuku POV, Ua High School, the top-ranked professional hero training academy in Japan, and arguably the world. One of the things the school is famous for, its state-of-the-art facilities, incredibly rigorous curriculum, and a near-impenetrable security system, but the reason this school is so famous is that it taught the world's #1 hero. All Might, the symbol of peace and justice, a pillar of support for the people. His age unknown, his quirk unidentified. He dashed into the hero world blazing and received unwavering popularity based on his ability. Thanks to his appearance, the once truly high crime rates decreased drastically year after year to the point his existence itself became the deterrent. However, I'll never forget the words he told me that day. Flashback. It was before when I should have gone to middle school, before everything went to shit. I had just left Kachan and his lackeys, and was walking home. I needed to get home so I could help Dad with the farm work. If I didn't, he would just do it all himself and overwork himself, and God knows he would not listen to Mom when she says take a break, the stubborn bastard. I had walked under a bridge when I heard some rumbling behind me. I turned around slowly only to see nothing. I thought I had imagined it when all of a sudden green slime-like liquid erupted from a sewer entrance a few meters away from me. The liquid formed into a sludge-like monster. I was scared, truly, but I also learned never to judge someone based on how they look. No one chooses how they are born, no one chooses who they are born to, and no one chooses how they look. Sure, you can put on makeup or pierce your eyes or nose or lips, but when a quirk changes how you look, nothing can be done. It's something you will have to live with and make the best of. Quirks that change the way one looks are called mutant types quirks. He seemed tired, as if he was running for a long time. I approached him and asked, Izuku, hey, are you okay? The sludge guy just looked at me. He seemed stunned for only a moment before smiling, and immediately I felt truly unnerved. His smile was wide, but it was full of evil intent, as if he wanted to take every inch of my body for himself, and his words only confirmed his intentions. Sludge villain. Yeah kid, I just need a new skin suit to escape. Before I could react, he attacked me. He wrapped my entire body in his sludge. I could barely move. I desperately tried to free myself, but I could not do anything. His sludge started entering my mouth and nose. I could not breathe anymore, and I was slowly losing oxygen. I saw my life flash before my eyes. I truly thought I was going to die. I felt the tears in my eyes as my vision slowly darkened with every second. My only thoughts. No, I don't to die. My parents would be sad. I haven't accomplished anything. This can't be the end. Sludge villain. Don't worry, I'm just hijacking your body. Calm down, it will all be over soon. His words were so malicious and so full of perverse evil that I truly thought I was done for. The last thought in my mind, someone, please, help me. Before I completely blacked out, I thought I heard something laugh I think, and I thought I saw a muscular person winding up a punch. Then everything went dark. Tap, 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 tap. I felt something furiously yet gently hitting my face, so I woke with a start, and there he was. The world's #1 hero, All Might, in a plain white shirt, holding a containing the same sludge villain that almost killed me. He had his signature smile on his face as he showed me a thumbs up. All Might, thought I lost you there. Are you okay, young man? I stood up with a start and waved my hands frantically. I was an All Might fan, I admit it, so I was very nervous and also super excited speaking to my idol right now. Izuku, All Might sir, it's truly an honor to meet and be saved by you. Can I have your ought? My words were cut off when I realized he already had signed my shirt. I was super happy and I really wanted to scream, but I didn't want to seem like a weird, so I just let my brightest smile adorn my face before my face darkened. Izuku, All Might, I have a question to ask you. All Might raised an eyebrow. What is it, young? Izuku, Midoriya, Izuku Midoriya. This question was very important to me. People are not subtle when they gossip. I know what they saw behind my back. Quirkless, useless, waste of space. Why is he still alive? They were very painful things to hear, but my parents and Momo always made me feel better. I think the most painful of the ones I heard was, pray to be born with a quirk in your next life, and take a swan dive of the roof of a building. I honestly could not believe that came out of someone's mouth. It was a very painful time for me, but now, my idol, someone who inspires millions of people, is standing right in front of me, so I bowed my head but kept my eyes on him and asked the question that haunted me my entire life. Izuku, is it possible for me to be a hero without a quirk? I saw him freeze. He looked at me with a gaze that was all too familiar. A look of pity. When I saw that look, on my idol, that also painfully familiar look I'd seen all the time, I think I knew what was coming, that all too familiar answer. I just didn't want to believe it. Not from him. I could hear it from anyone else, literally anyone else, just not him. Please, not him. All Might. As the years go by, villains are getting stronger and stronger, the caliber of quirks continues to strengthen day by day as well. Even with quirks it's dangerous for us heroes when we fight. There are some things that you need a quirk to handle. I'm certain you can be a great police officer or fireman, but I'm sorry but I don't think you can be a hero without a quirk. Yep, there it was. I knew it was coming but I still stubbornly wanted to believe he wouldn't say it to me. I wanted to believe that the number one hero would still encourage everyone. But I was wrong, so very wrong. Izuku, oh, I see, thank you for your answer. With a bow, I went home. I told my parents what happened. Of course Mom fussed over me, which was understandable, but Dad didn't say anything. He just ruffled my hair and went to work. I went to help him. He was fixing the tractor. I was moving the hay bales when he said to me, "Hasashi, listen my son, life is a series of obstacles. These obstacles exist in order to put you down, to stop you from being the best version of yourself. You just encountered a major one today. The real question is, Izuku, are you going to let this hurdle defeat you, or are you going to rise up and fight? Because if I remember correctly, it's a hero's job to fight and defeat the unfairness of the world, right?" I had looked at my dad in awe. His words warmed my heart. He was right. Why was I letting something as pathetic as an obstacle hurt me so much? I smiled at my dad. "Izuku, you're right. Thanks, Dad." "Hasashi, son, you are destined for greatness. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise." I nodded at him, not truly understanding what those words meant, but I believed in him anyway. Flashback over. I don't hate L had a strange feelings. He just said those words to try and protect me. I just can't see him as an idol anymore. I don't see any hero as an idol. My only idols are my fathers, both biological and adoptive. I shake my head, getting rid of my thoughts. I see students of different schools walking into UA clearly for the entrance exam. I also see Kachan walking in too. He did not see me, so I can just ignore him. It's 8:24 right now, meaning I have 6 minutes until the exam officially starts. I walk in with the rest of the students following them as we are led into a large room with a bunch of chairs and desks with our names on them. Clearly the exam room. "Izuku, Psycho, memorize all destinations of UA. Understood, Master." My watch glowed for a second before returning to normal. Psycho would be finished in minutes, so I quietly sat down and waiting for whoever would be hosting the exam to enter. And of course it's just my damn luck to be put in the seat next to Kachan. Whatever. What's done is done. No point whining about it. He glared at me for a bit but ultimately said nothing, and I just ignored him. In my mind our friendship ended a long time ago. He is just a stranger who I happened to grow up with. Then suddenly, the spotlights at the front flicked to life and a projector screen turned on showing the UA symbol. On the stage right in front of the projector screen was the hero present, Mike, a well-known hero and a known faculty member of UA High School. He interacted with all of the examinees unnecessarily using his quirk, giving me, who has super hearing, and all the other examiners super hearing or not, headaches. Present Mike. For all you examinees tuning in, welcome to my show today. Everybody say hey. He turned his ear to the crowd with an obnoxious smile to listen to what he thought would be the crowd's exited hey. Instead, he got jack shit. Absolute silence. Some students looking at him shocked, some looking at him with deadpan expressions. As for me, I just wanted him to stop talking. He is so loud, I know I'm going to have the worst headache by the end of today. Present Mike. What a refined response. I'm shocked. He can speak softly after all. Why did he not do that in the first place? Present Mike. Then I'll quickly present to you all a rundown on the exam. He then pulls out a remote and presses a button on it, and the screen behind him changes, showing two halves. The left half in blue saying written exam, the right half in green saying practical exam. Present Mike. There are 2 exams you need to successfully complete to enter UA High School. The written exam is what you will do shortly. The practical exam will be after the written one. On the side of each of your desks you will all see a red button. Kindly push that button for me, please. We all did as told, and when I pushed the button, my desk opened up, revealing a paper and a pen inside, a test paper with an application form to fill out, then a bunch of multiple choice and short answer questions. Present Mike. You will have 1 hour and 30 minutes to complete the written exam. If you are finished before the time is up and have looked over each question and answer carefully, then raise your hand. I will collect the paper from you and you may proceed through that door to where you may get changed for the practical exam. he says, gesturing to the door on the right, indicating that's the door we take to head to the changing rooms for the practical. Present mic. All right, it is now 8:30, you will have 90 minutes to complete the exam. You may begin. Immediately the sounds of papers rustling filled my ears. I picked up my pen and began answering questions on my paper. Maybe it was my Kryptonian brain, but the questions were very simple. I even found many spelling errors on the paper. I'm not sure whether they were intentional or not, but I fixed them on the paper before answering the questions. The only thing I really had trouble with was the application. It asked for just a few things. My name, my age, my address, my quirk, the course I'm aiming for, my guardian's name. All of it was simple enough with the exception of my quirk and guardian name. Technically my parents are dead and I'm now a legal adult, so I just filled out no one won the paper, but in terms of my quirk I genuinely do not know what to fill out. At first I was going to give a simple explanation that made logical sense until I realized I don't really want anyone to know what I can do. Honestly, I have yet to find a weakness. I'm basically invulnerable and invincible, but I'm not stupid. Just because I have yet to find a weakness does not mean one doesn't exist. If you fight thinking you're invincible, you will be complacent and your guard will be down, allowing you or someone else to get hurt. In the end I just leave it blank. I hope it is acceptable. I finished the exam with about 30 minutes to spare and I double-checked my answers before laying my head down and resting. I did not raise my hand to leave because no one else had done that. I don't really want to stand out just yet. I would like to keep a low profile as long as possible. Then I woke up to a bell ringing, most likely indicating the 30 minutes ended. Present mic. All right everyone, the time is up, pens down. Press the same buttons on your desk and place the papers back in. Then head out and get changed for your practical. I place my paper in the desk before grabbing my bag and heading in a changing room, changing into a simple green tracksuit with the House of L symbol on the chest. Momo made this for me, and she had the House of L symbol put on the back for me. God, I love her so much. I'm going to get her the best gift possible when this is over. We were assembled to a room after changing, and for some reason Present Mike decided to start shouting again. Present Mike. Now I will explain the rules of the practical exam. Are you ready? Yeah. Was he expecting us to yell again? If he was, it didn't work as once again everyone was silent. I felt kind of bad for him. He pressed a button and the screen behind him changed, showing 4 different shaped robots. Present Mike. As it says in the application requirements, you will be conducting 10-minute mock battles. On your application cards are different letters. This represents the area in which the mock battle will take place. Hearing this, I pull out my application card and sure enough I saw the letter B, meaning I would be in area B. I then heard Kachan voice beside me. Kachan. In other words, they won't allow you to work with your friends, huh? I took a look at Kachan cards and sure enough, our numbers were relative, but he was in area A while I'm in B. I shrugged. It is what it is, I guess. He glared at me. Kachan. Don't look, you bastard. I simply looked away. No point in arguing with him and begin to focus once again on Present Mike's super loud words. Honestly, I covered my ears a little because of how loud he was. Present Mike. There are going to be 3 types of foe villains stationed in each battle center. You will earn points based on their difficulty. Your task is to earn points by immobilize the foe villains. Of course, attacking other examinees and other unheroic acts are prohibited. Suddenly one of the examiners stood up. I looked at him. He has blue hair and wore glasses, and he raised his hand with almost robotic straightness. Question mark, question mark, question mark, quote. May I ask a question? Present Mike. Okay. Question mark, question mark, question mark, quote. On the printout given to us by the school, there are 4 types of villains displayed. If this is a misprint, then UA, the most prominent hero school in Japan, should be truly ashamed of such a foolish mistake. We examiners are here today because we want to be molded into exemplary heroes. Bruh, was he not just about to explain that patience is a virtue? Question mark, question mark, question mark, quote. And you with the curly green hair. He suddenly pointed at me, glaring. Huh, what did I do? I raised an eyebrow, waiting for what he wants. Question mark, question mark, question mark, quote. You have been covering your ears this whole time, as if you could not care less about what is being said. If you're here to waste time on a pleasure trip, you should leave immediately. Huh, am I distracting anyone? I felt a little annoyed by his statement, but I took a deep breath and said as calmly as I can. Izuku, dude, I'm covering my ears because Present Mike was shouting too loudly, plus me covering my ears is my business not yours, so why did you think you can decide who can be here or not? And if I'm not mistaken, Present Mike was most likely going to explain the fourth foe villain before you interrupted him with. You just wasted not only his time, and mine, but you've wasted the time of everyone here by saying what you said and making me say all of this. I looked around and sure enough all the examiners were glaring at the blue-haired boy who bowed and apologized, his face full of embarrassment. Present Mike, thank you listener, and I will speak more softly. Thank God. Present Mike, the fourth villain is worth 0 points, it's basically just an obstacle. There is only one in each side and will go cray in narrow spaces. It's not impossible to defeat, but there is no point in defeating either. I recommend you all to ignore it. That's all from me. Finally I will let you all leave with our school motto. The hero Napoleon once said, a true hero is one who overcomes life's misfortunes, go beyond plus ultra. Go beyond, plus ultra, that means to shatter your limits. To identify what your max is, and go higher than it. It can be much easier, but it can also be much harder than it sounds. The bus dropped us off at the Gate B entrance. I went to Area B standing in line with many students. However, something felt strange. The gates were already open, why are we just standing here? Then it hit me, what if this was part of the exercise? Flashback. I'm standing in the training area in a simulation, with Kryptonian robots surrounding me. Izuku, okay let's street. I'm cut off, then the robot appeared in front of me punching me hard in the face. I try to say I'm not ready, but I'm cut off by a kick to the ribs causing great pain. Every time I try to speak, the robots keep charging and beating the shit out of me. Jor-L. End simulation. The simulation ends, thank God, and I'm recovering. Jor-L. One of the most important things in a fight, Cal, enemies don't wait for you to be ready, they don't care if you are, they either want to win or want you dead. Don't give them any openings, always keep your guard up. Always be ready for anything. I nod, letting the lesson sink in, and I feel the determination to get stronger, the determination to stand and fight no matter what seep into my bones. I stand with a determined look on my face. Izuku, okay, again. Jor-L smiled and began the simulation again. Flashback over. I take off in speed into the gates, hearing the complaints behind me. Hey, he's cheating. Disqualify him. However, I hear Present Mike shout. Present Mike, what are you all waiting for? Heroes do not wait for a COUNTDONW. Go, go, go. I then hear multiple footsteps behind me. Clearly they were all panicked and charging to get points. I'm speeding through Area B, finding many robots. I destroy as many as I can, holding back just enough to destroy the robots, nothing else. I gain a total of 45 points before I decide that's enough. I don't want to take points away from anyone, so I simply fly up and hover in the air, watching all the examinees do their best. I'm using my super hearing to listen in, just to know if anyone is in danger. I'm mainly just hearing them gain points. Release. That's 28 points. That's 45 points. That's 38 points. People are doing very well, and then I hear it. Help. Somebody help me. I immediately fly towards the voice, and I see a girl with purple hair and earphone jacks' earlobes about to be crushed by a robot, so I flew towards her and punched the robot, destroying it, and grabbed her. All of this in the span of a second. Izuku, are you okay, miss? The girl looked at me in shock before a blush appeared on her face in embarrassment, since I am princess carrying her right now. Question mark, question mark, question mark, quote. Yes, I'm fine, thank you, can you put me down now please? I finally realize our situation and I put her down, a small blush appearing on my face due to the embarrassment. Izuku, I'm glad you're safe, hope you make it in. That's the last thing I say before taking off to the sky again. Meanwhile, in the observation room, all the teachers of UA are watching each examiner on screens, as there are cameras all around the sites. The principal of UA, Principal Nezu, is a unique being. Is he a mouse? Is he a bear? Is he a dog? The answer, he is all of them. A chimera. Principal Nezu, in this practical exam, the examinees have not been informed of the number of villains or their locations. They have a limited amount of time in a vast area, they have to draw the villains out from there. On one monitor, we see an examiner with multiple limbs on a roof surveying the area. Principal Nezu, information gathering to understand the situation before anyone else. On another monitor, we see the same blue-haired glasses eyes dude in a track suit, with engines coming out of his feet. Principal Nezu, mobility that can be used in many different circumstances. On another monitor we see a blonde-haired guy with a smile on his face shooting a laser from his navel with a ridiculous belt on. Principal Nezu, the ability to remain calm in any given situation. On another monitor, we see Katsuki Bakugo surrounded by destroyed robots with a smirk on his face breathing a little heavy. Principal Nezu, and pure combat ability. These basic abilities needed to keep the peace in the streets are turned into points in this test. One man, a homeless scruffy-looking man who looks like he wants to just sleep for the rest of his life, is continuously looking at one screen in particular, where one contestant with emerald green hair is seen flying above the site, his arms folded and his eyes closed. He narrowed his eyes at this one examiner intending to watch keenly at his next actions. After all, the real test is about to begin. Izuku Pav. I've helped a few contestants so far and it honestly sounds like everyone is doing okay, so I don't think I have to worry anymore. However, I notice from the sky, the ground began to shake violently. I look at the contestants who are looking at something with fear on their faces. I look over only to see a big-ass robot slowly wheeling its way towards them. Just wheeling past buildings is enough for the windows of said buildings to crack and shatter. It is the zero-pointer. It's huge. Present Mike had said it was just an obstacle. Bruh, isn't this a little too big for just an obstacle? All the examinees begin running away as fast and as far as possible. I think I understand why the zero-pointer is so large. It is supposed to be considered as an overwhelming threat. An overwhelming threat will bring out a person's true nature and thoughts. Will they stay and fight? Will they run away? The fact is there is absolutely no merit in taking down this faux villain. Quote. Ow. That's what I suddenly hear with my super hearing. I look in the direction to see a familiar girl with purple hair with earphone jacks for earlobes on the ground in pain, rubble over one of her feet preventing her from running away. She was basically right under the zero-pointer. If it took one step it would crush her, it would kill her. I start shaking remembering my dad being taken by the tornado. No, I won't let it happen again. I can't let it happen a second time. I fly full speed at the zero-pointer creating a sonic boom so loud I was unknowingly getting everyone's attention. Just me flying past the buildings so fast was destroying the rubble around me. I bring my fist back not hesitating as I punch the zero-pointer with much more strength than I originally intended, practically obliterating it. I sent the thing flying across the entire fake city, leaving everyone, especially the teachers in the observation room, in pure disbelief. Honestly, I could give a damn right now. I immediately fly to the girl and lift the rubble of her with one hand before holding her in my arms and asked worriedly, "Izuku, are you okay?" The girl shocked shook her head quickly and said, "Quote. Yes, I'm okay, thank you." I take a breath in relief. I'm glad she is okay. I then hear Present Mike over the speakers. "Present Mike, exam over, good work to everyone." I gently put her down, but when she tried to take a step she nearly tripped, so I steadied her ignoring all the whispers around me. "Who is this guy? He just one-shot that giant robot. So cool. Quote. Okay, good work everyone." Hearing that, I turned my head to look to see an old lady dressed as a nurse walking towards us with a hand in her pocket. She hands some gummies towards one examiner who has bruises and scrapes. I know this woman. She is the backbone of UA. She is why they can hold such dangerous exams without any kind of worry. She stretched out her lips to an unbelievable degree and kisses the purple-haired girl on the cheek, leaving everyone around gasping in disbelief. I'm not surprised. After all, she is UA high-licensed school nurse. The youthful hero, recovery girl. Her quirk is the super activation of the body's healing ability. Immediately after kissing the purple-haired girl, her body started to glow green and the bruise and whatever else was causing her pain in her leg and body slowly healed itself, vanishing, so I no longer had to steady her. I nodded to the girl before flying home, not knowing I gained the attention of certain people. 1 week later, I'm cuddled up with Momo in my room watching a movie while eating some popcorn with her. I playfully poke her side making her giggle cutely. "Momo, Izu, Don't do that. Izuku. Why not? It's making you laugh. I poke her more and more until I just plainly start tickling her and she bursts into laughter trying and failing to get away. Momo. Ahahahahahahaha. Izu no please, stop, I can't. I stopped tickling her and let her catch her breath before pulling her into a kiss. She melted into it. I really love this girl. After a while she breaks the kiss with me breathing heavy, her lips are a bit swollen and she was looking at me with pure affections, and slight lust and I smiled at her and she blushed seeing the smile I gave her. She immediately shakes her head getting rid of the blush and asks. Momo. So how did the exam go? Izuku. Well, from self-scoring, I think I did well on the written exam. As for the practical, I'm cut off when I get a knock on the door. I get up opening the door and I get a letter. It's here, it's the letter from UA. I grab it, thanking the delivery guy and take the letter coming back to my girlfriend. Izuku. Momo, it's arrived. She looks at me, then at the letter before nodding and pausing the movie sitting up as I walk towards her. I open the letter and a hologram disc falls out. I put it down and just in case. Izuku. Psycho. Scan device for any explosive or weaponry. Understood. Scanning now. After a few seconds of my AI scanning the device and Momo rolling her eyes, it responds. Scan complete. No weapons or explosives located in device. I press the disc and All Might appears in hologram form wearing a yellow three-piece business suit. All Might. I am here as a projection. I roll my eyes. Could he be any more annoying? Yes, I can see you. You don't have to say you're here, my guy. Wait a minute. The letter is from UA. What is All Might doing on the screen? All Might. I had to do paperwork that took some time so I could not contact you. I'm sorry it took so long to receive your letter. To be honest, I came to this town to work in UA. I can't take too long with this, so I'll say this. I listened intently, holding Momo's hand who squeezed mine, reassuring me that she was here for me. All Might. You got full marks on the written exam, and even fixed the spelling error that our principal personally hid in the exam. That shows you are a very brilliant individual. As for the practical, you got a total of 45 points. That alone proves you passed the exam. Well done. However, the practical exam that day was not only graded on villain points. No, UA has a secret hidden point system. Secret point system. I look at Momo who is as clueless as I am. All Might. After all, how can a hero school reject those who save others and do the right thing? This is a job that literally requires risking your life to saving others. Rescue points. Given by the judges. It is the other basic ability UA looks at. You gain 70 rescue points. Izuku Midoriya 115 points. You managed to beat my record of 100 points and are now the highest scorer in all of UA history. Congratulations and welcome to your Hero Academia. I scored the highest. Momo immediately squealed in happiness and jumped into my arms. Momo. Congratulations, Izu. I smiled and hugged her looking out my window at the night sky. I think in my head. Dad, Mom, are you watching right now? I did it. I got into UA. Hope you're proud of me. Next stop. My journey. To be a hero. Izuku Pav. I managed to get first place in the entrance exam, even managing to beat All Might's score. The rate of acceptance for UA High School is less than 1 in 300 every year. Other than the 4 people admitted in through recommendations, 40 are admitted through the regular exam. Momo is one of the 4 people admitted through recommendations, but even if she wasn't, she is quite capable, so I'm sure she would have passed even without it. Those 40 are then split into 2 classes with 20 in each. I am part of Class 1A. I put on my UA uniform and portal watch and don't forget to greet Psycho. Izuku. Good morning, Psycho. Has UA destination been saved to your memory? Yes, it has, sir, and might I add you look wonderful in your uniform. I walk to the mirror and look at myself in the mirror. Psycho was right, I do look good in this uniform. I then walk to a picture of my parents' graves and I let out a small smile, wishing they were here to see this. Izuku. Mother, Father, I'm heading to UA now. Hope you're watching and are happy, wherever you are. I press the button on my portal watch activating a portal to the gate of UA and walk through. Momo had left from her house and headed straight to UA. She did not call me, so I'm assuming she is busy trying to make a good impression, so who am I to get in her way? Izuku. Psycho hack into UA systems, remain undetected, send any and all information to the scout ship and tell Dad to analyze it. Understood, Master. I know this is kind of wrong, but one thing I learned during training, even the closest people to you can betray you. I don't truly want to trust the heroes because in the end, who are they to me? Sure, they save people and try to comfort them, but they also have their own beliefs and feelings, and sometimes it gets to a point where they will consider you against them if you don't conform to them, so better safe than sorry. I arrive at the door of Class 1A, I say door, but good lord, why the hell is this door so damn big? I guess it's for people whose quirk makes their bodies larger than others. Behind this door are the elite students who were chosen from the exam. Did Kachan make it in, or that guy with the blue hair and glasses? Well, if they're my classmates, I'm just going to have to deal with it. Plus, I'm nothing like the shy, scared little kid I used to be. I slowly opened the door and immediately I hear arguing. Question mark, quote. Don't put your feet on the desk. Kachan. Huh. Question mark, quote. Don't you think that's rude to UA upperclassmen and the people who made the desk? Yeah, I don't think they're really gonna care, bro, I thought with a sweat drop. Kachan. Not in the slightest. What junior high did you go to, you side character? I roll my eyes. There he goes again, treating himself as the main character of some story. Why does he not get that this is reality? To my surprise, the guy with glasses actually answered the question. Question mark, quote. I attended some private academy. My name is Tenya Ida. Tenya Ida, huh? I finally know his name, and I can promise you Kachan does not give a damn. Sure enough. Kachan. Some so you're a damn elite, huh? No wonder you have such a stick up your ass. Looks like he'll have fun crushing you. Ida looked shocked by his words. Ida, crushing me? That's just cruel. Are you truly aiming to be a hero? Kachan just scoffed, rolling his eyes until he and Ida noticed me standing at the door with a blank look on my face. I mean, how exactly am I supposed to react right now? Ida, it's you. Everyone in the class just turns and looks at me and I just blinked. What's me? What is this guy talking about? I noticed the purple-haired earphone girl sitting in the class and I waved at her and she smiled and waved back. I was happy to see her. I hope we can be friends. Ida. Good morning. I look back at Ida, who walked up towards me, his body terrifyingly stiff as if he was a robot. Ida. I'm from some private academy, I am. I raise my hand, cutting him off. Izuku. I heard you earlier. I'm Izuku Midoriya. Nice to meet you, Ida. Ida. Midoriya, you realize there was something more to the practical exam, didn't you? Huh, what the hell is he talking about? Ida's body began to shake, his eyes were closed as if he was frustrated and disappointed in himself. Ida. I had no idea. I misjudged you. I hate to admit it, but you are better than me. Actually, I didn't realize a damn thing, bro. Question mark, quote. Oh, that curly hair, you're the super strong one. I turn around to see a girl with brown hair and puffed cheeks, like a mochi in a female UA uniform with a pink bag on her back. Question mark, quote. I am Ochako Uraraka. I'm glad you made it in. Well, of course you did, that punch was amazing. She was moving her fist up and down in a punching move. I guess she found my punch cool. I was about to say something when I suddenly hear a heartbeat approaching. I look to see a giant caterpillar slithering towards us from behind the girl. I use my X-ray vision and, oh, it's just a guy in a sleeping bag. Damn, he looks like he could just sleep forever. The girl leaned close to me. Uraraka. I wonder if today's just the entrance ceremony or just orientation. I wonder what our teacher is like. Are you nervous? I feel daggers starring from behind me. I don't even have to look to know it's Momo. She is probably jealous. I'll have to comfort her soon before she ends my life, or worse. Then a super tired, basically done with all life voice came from behind the girl. Question mark, quote. Go somewhere else if you're here just to play at being friends. The girl becomes shocked and I hear Ida gasp behind me. She slowly turns to look at what gasped behind her. Question mark, quote. This is the hero course. The man on the floor unzips his bag a little and starts drinking a juice. Wait, is this my teacher? I thought, shocked on the inside but not showing it. He slowly stood up and unzipped the sleeping bag before stepping out and putting his hand in his pockets. Question mark question mark question mark quote. It took you all 8 seconds to quiet down. Time is limited, you kids are not rational enough. Yet this is definitely the teacher. Meaning this guy in front of me is a pro hero. I mean he certainly looks familiar, but he is not ringing a bell to me. Question mark question mark question mark quote. I'm your homeroom teacher Shota Aizawa, nice to meet you. Immediately all my classmates began to gasp in shock. Homeroom teacher. Mr. Aizawa reached into his sleeping bag and pulled out some clothes. Mr. Aizawa, it's kind of sudden, but put this on and go out onto the field. So we're not having orientation? I raise an eyebrows and my classmates were just as shocked, but we obeyed the teacher and each took our PE uniform before heading to the changing room. After getting changed I follow my classmates to the field where what we are doing is revealed. A quirk assessment test, Uraraka. But what about the entrance ceremony? Orientation. Mr. Aizawa, if you're going to be a hero, you don't have time for such leisurely events. Suddenly Mr. Aizawa, tired and done with the world voice, had a dangerous and serious edge that put all of the class on edge. Mr. Aizawa, UA's selling point is how unrestricted its school traditions are. That also includes how the teachers run their classes. Some of my classmates, including Ida and Uraraka, took a step back hearing this, a bit worried. Mr. Aizawa, you guys have been doing this since middle school, right? He holds up a phone showing physical tests on it. Mr. Aizawa, physical fitness tests where you weren't allowed to use your quirks. Actually I never went to middle school so I've never done these tests. I have done something similar in dad's training though, I thought. Mr. Aizawa, this country still uses averages taken from results of students not using their quirks. It's highly irrational. Well, the Ministry of Education is procrastinating. Oh, is that how that works? I wonder in my mind. Mr. Aizawa, Bakugo, you finished in second in the practical exam, right? Kachan looked a bit surprised but still silently looked at the teacher waiting for what else he had to say. Mr. Aizawa, in middle school, what was your best result for the softball throw? Kachan, 67 meters. Mr. Aizawa, then try doing it with your quirk this time. He leads Bakugo to a decent-sized white circle before announcing to the class. Mr. Aizawa, you can do anything you want as long as you stay in the circle. Hurry up, give it all you got. Kachan begins to stretch his arms before getting in throwing position with a super wide, super wicked smirk on his face and throwing the ball with a massive explosion. Kachan, well then, die. I felt a sweat drop hearing this. Die. Mr. Aizawa, know your own maximum first, that is the only rational way to form the foundation of a hero. He then lifts up the phone showing Kachan's score to the class. 705.2 m. The entire class gasped in awe seeing the score. Question mark question mark question mark quote. 705 meters, seriously. Question mark question mark question mark quote. What is this? It looks fun. Question mark question mark question mark quote. We can use our quirks as much as we want. As expected from the hero course. However, Mr. Aizawa did not look impressed. If anything, he seemed annoyed and disgusted by the class's words. I narrowed my eyes. Mr. Aizawa, it looks fun, huh? You have 3 years to become full-fledged heroes. Will you have an attitude like that the whole time? He did have a point. Being a hero is not supposed to be fun. If anything, you're going to deal with things that will probably scar you, if it does not break you first. You will literally be face to face with the horrors of humanity, to the point where you would not even believe some people are even capable of what has been done. Mr. Aizawa smirked, and it was just plain creepy. Mr. Aizawa, all right, whoever comes last place in all 8 tests will be judged to have no potential and be expelled. Everyone in Class 1A gasped. Well, except Momo, who just had that look that clearly stated, she did not believe it, but I was listening to his heartbeat when he said that. It was steady, not even a small skip, meaning he was telling the truth. Damn, huh, this was the reaction of the entire class, pretty expected. If I didn't have faith in my capabilities, I would have reacted the same way. Mr. Aizawa, we are free to do what we want involving the circumstances of our students. He pushed some of his hair out of his face showing a crazy expression. Mr. Aizawa, welcome to UA Hero course. So a huge test on our first day, I say. Bring it on. Uraraka. Last place will get expelled. But it's only the first day of school. No, even if it wasn't the first day, this is just plain unfair. Fair? The sad truth is nothing in life is fair. My father, my mother, if life were fair they would still be alive. I learned a long time ago that in order for me and the people I love to live a good life, I need to get strong enough to battle the unfairness of the world. Mr. Aizawa. Natural disasters, big accidents, selfish villains. Calamities whose time and place cannot be predicted. The world is covered in the filth of unfairness. Heroes are the ones who reverse those situations. If you wanted to go talk to your friends at Mikey D after school, too bad. For the next 3 years, UA will do all it can to give you one hardship after another. Go beyond, plus ultra. Overcome it with all you've got. I shake my head with a small smile ruffling my hair a little bit. It's the best of the best after all, it's what we got to do. I look at Momo who catches my gaze and I nod at her with determination and she replies the gesture. Oh yeah, she is as ready as I am. Mr. Aizawa. Now then, the demonstration's over. The real test starts now. Test number 1 was the 50-meter dash. We each did it in pairs monitored and stopped by a camera with a voice activator and motion detector. It would time how long we took and stop when we pass it. First was Ida and a green-haired girl with her tongue out. She honestly kind of gives me frog vibes, guess it's her quirk or something. They were counted down, before Ida took off dashing at quite the speed with the frog girl hopping behind at a good pace. Ida was finishing the 50 meters and passing the camera in just 3.04 seconds. The girl finished it in 5.58 seconds. Next was Uraraka and a blonde guy with a tail. I was standing next to Momo waiting for my turn and I heard Uraraka say while touching her clothes with her hands. Uraraka. Lighten up my clothes and shoes. They were counted down and both ran, the tail guy doing much better, finishing in 5.49 seconds, Uraraka finishing in 7.15 seconds. Next was a cool-looking alien girl with pink skin and a blonde guy wearing a belt and an annoying smile. He stood not in running motion but with his hands on his hips, his back facing the finish line. Question mark question mark question mark quote. Everyone, you're not being creative enough, let me show you what it's like to be allowed to use your quirk. Once the countdown began he jumped and shot a laser from the belt, propelling him towards the finish line which was actually working well until for some reason it just stopped and he fell to the ground in obvious pain. Dirt now staining his uniform and the pink-skinned girl running past him finishing before him as he got up and propelled himself again finishing. He then stood hands still on his hips, that same annoying smile on his face as if he did amazingly. Bruh, did you not just eat shit a second ago? I thought. He finished in 5.51 seconds and he said proudly with a smile clearly trying to be dazzling. Question mark question mark question mark quote. If I shoot for more than a second, I get a stomachache. What the heck? Why are you so proud in admitting that? I thought shocked at the clearly proud blonde. I look at Momo wondering if I'm losing my mind but she seems just as baffled as me. More and more of my classmates went until it was finally my turn, and of course because God loves me with all of his heart, sarcasm intended, it put me against Kachan. When our time ended I just used about 30% of my speed and ran to the finish line while Kachan propelled himself with his explosions. I finished in 1.31 seconds while he finished in 4.13 seconds. Everyone, including Mr. Aizawa, looked shocked when hearing my score, and Momo just sighed, oh dear, may I should have used 20%. And of course let's not forget Kachan who was glaring at me with so much hatred, clearly wanting to kill me in many different ways. The second test we did was grip strength and wait for a second to watch everyone. Wow, awesome. I look in the direction of the voice and see a black-haired guy with circular tape kind of elbows and a short guy with purple balls for hair on his head standing in on next to a guy in a mask with multiple arms showing his grip strength. He got 540 kilograms. Question mark question mark question mark quote. 540 kilograms, what are you, a gorilla, or an octopus? The multi-arm guy just shrugged. I look over to see Momo being annoyed by a guy with yellow hair with a black lightning streak in it. I got a little annoyed and pop I accidentally broke the meter on the grip strength thing, shocking everyone again. Why is it so hard to keep a low profile? The next test was the long jump. Well, thankfully many people managed to cross the whole thing. Kachan, the annoying smiling blonde with the belt, the frog girl. Me, I just flew over it, no biggie. Next was repeated side steps. The purple guy with balls on his head did well. He planted a bunch of balls on either side of him and just bounced on each of them, which made it fast. Me, I just did it normally without any powers, yet strangely, I felt the teacher looking at me with an expression I could not read. The next test we did was the ball throw. Uraraka went touching the ball, making it float and float until at first it was not visible, then it was out of the atmosphere. How do I know? Because it was the only possible conclusion. As for why, when Mr. Aizawa showed her score, it showed infinity. Of course everyone was in disbelief seeing the score. Infinity. The blonde lightning-haired guy was like, question mark, quote. That's amazing, she got infinity. Mr. Aizawa, Midoriya, you got first place in the entrance exam, even managing to beat the score of All Might. You're up. Question mark, quote. He managed to beat All Might's score. Question mark, quote. For real? No way. I walked up to him and took the ball, trying to ignore all the shocked stares. Well, any hope of a low profile just went down the drain. I was not happy, but I don't want to glare at the teacher, he might expel me for it. Well, since my low profile status is forever gone, so be it. Plus, I am kind of angry. I look at the ball and decide to take my anger out on it. I walk in the circle and get in a throwing position and throw the ball with all my strength, creating a super loud sonic boom and an unbelievable shockwave that it took everything they had for the entire class not to be blown away. When the dust from my throw cleared, I was standing in a crated, feeling much better. Izuku, Mr. Aizawa, what is my score? After getting over his shock, he held the phone up to the class and like Uraraka, I got infinity. The reason mine was more shocking than hers was that mine, unlike hers, was pure strength. The class was so shocked they were literally rendered speechless. Aizawa smiled creepily again. Mr. Aizawa, this kid. Question mark, quote. Infinity. No way. Question mark, quote. Such power. Just like the entrance exam. Question mark, quote. Just what is his quirk exactly? The class was full of disbelief. I guess it was to be expected. However, the biggest reaction was Kachan, who had his mouth agape, looking at me with many emotions: shock, disbelief, anger, betrayal. I'm not really sure why he would feel that when suddenly his hands started sparking with explosions. Then he charged at me, hand outstretched. Kachan. Hey, Deku, you bastard, tell me how you did that or you're dead. Seriously, he was coming to attack me. Suddenly Mr. Aizawa's scarf wrapped around him. His eyes were glowing red as he stared down at him. Now I remember. I know which hero he is. This is Erasure Head. Anyone he looks at has their quirk cancelled. He is an underground hero, meaning he does not show up in the media often. This is actually bad for me. Since my powers aren't a quirk, he can't cancel them out. So unless I specifically see him using his quirk on me and act like his quirk affects me, I really have no way of knowing when he will use it on me. I'll have to play it carefully. Kachan was struggling and failing to break free. Kachan. What the? These cloths are hard. Mr. Aizawa. They're capture weapons made of carbon fiber woven together with special wire made of a special alloy. Geez, don't make me use my quirk over and over again. I have dry eye. I'm certain my thoughts mirrored the rest of my classmates. It's such a waste since his quirk is amazing, I thought. Mr. Aizawa released Kachan. We're wasting time. Whoever's next, get ready. After that we did the rest of the tests, which did not last more than an hour. However, after the ball throw I felt more and more of my classmates' gazes on me, especially Kachan, who did not bother hiding his murderous intent. Mr. Aizawa. Okay, I'll quickly tell you the results. The total is simply the marks you got from each test. It's a waste of time to explain verbally, so I'll just show the results all at once. Mr. Aizawa then pushes a button and a hologram appears showing the results as well as a picture of each person next to their names. 1 Izuku Midoriya, 2 Momo Yaoyorozu, 3 Shoto Todoroki, 4 Tenya Ida, 5 Katsuki Bakugo, 6 Fumikage Tokiyami, 7 Mezzo Shoji, 8 Masahiro Ojiro, 9 Eijiro Kirishima, 10 Mina Ashido, 11 Ochako Uraraka, 12 Koji Koda, 13 Rikido Sato, 14 Tsuyu Asui, 15 Yuga Aoyama, 16 Honta Siro, 17 Denki Kaminari, 18 Kyoka Jiro, 19 Toru Hagakuri, 20 Minoru Mineta. I'm last place. I turned to look, it was the boy with purple balls for hair on the verge of tears, so he is Mineta huh? Mr. Aizawa. And I was lying, no one is going home. Everyone froze hearing this and Aizawa had a blank smile on his face. Mr. Aizawa, that was just irrational deception to make sure you gave it your all in the tests. Everyone gasped in shock hearing this and Momo just looked at everyone as if they were stupid. Momo, of course what he said earlier was a lie. It should have been obvious had you thought it through. Everyone just looked at Momo dumbfounded. It was obvious what they were thinking. I didn't notice, was their thoughts. I however had a serious expression on my face. Why? Because his heart skipped a beat when he said that. So him saying it was irrational deception was a lie. He was truly willing to expel one of us if we did not have potential. Siro, that was a little nerve-wracking huh? Hiroshima, I'll take up the challenge anytime. Kachan, TCH, looks away. Mr. Aizawa put his hands in his pockets and began to walk away. Mr. Aizawa, with that we're done here. There are handouts with the curriculum and such in the classroom, so when you get back, look over them. I let out a sigh ready to go to Momo so we can head back together, but then Sir calls me. Mr. Aizawa, Midoriya. I'd like you speak with you, follow me. I'm confused on what he wants from me, but I follow him with my hands in my pockets as he leads me to the principal's office where he is there as well as a rat, a dog, a bear. Noah Chimera is sitting in a chair holding some files in his hand which he puts down as we walk in. Principal Nezu. Greetings Midoriya, I am Principal Nezu. Am I a mouse? Am I a dog? Am I a bear? The answer is I cut him off answering with a blank expression. Izuku, you're a chimera, a rare case of an animal having a quirk. Most likely starting out as one animal you were experimented on gaining DNA and traits of the other two and making your quirk more powerful. Principal Nezu freezes in shock hearing this and Aizawa also looks at me with both disbelief and suspicion. Principal Nezu coughs regaining composure. Nezu, I'm quite surprised Midoriya, that you could tell all that from a glance and impressed. Now as to not take up too much of your class time, please take a seat. I nod and sit down hands in my lap ready to hear what they want from me. Nezu, I'll get straight to the point. In your application you did not put down your quirk name or abilities here, is there a reason for that? Oh, so that's what their issue is. Luckily I planned ahead. I was expecting that they would have rejected my application when I did not write my quirk name or ability, but they did, so I figured they would ask about it. Just not this soon, but since I can't tell them I'm an alien from a destroyed world and I don't really want to lie, I can just say the other truth. Izuku, well sir, I never liked broadcasting my abilities to other people. To me, that's like making yourself easy prey. For example, Kachan, sorry Katsuki Bakugo, his quirk is explosion. He sweat as nitroglycerin and he can use his palms to ignite them and make an explosion. If I were a villain, the best way to fight someone like him would be to bring him somewhere cold where he either can't sweat or keep making him create explosions until his sweat glands and arms are unable to handle anymore. Quite simply, telling people what I can do makes me feel like every fight I go in, I will lose, and I'm sorry I refuse to feel that way. Nezu eyes widen hearing this. Same for Mr. Aizawa. Either they truly had not thought of it that way or they were surprised of my viewpoint on the matter, or maybe they saw I truly was not going to tell them my powers, anyhow they let it go. Nezu, I see, thank you Midoriya for your explanation. You may return to class. I nod and stand up leaving the room, however I use my super hearing to listen in on Mr. Aizawa and Principal Nezu. Nezu, I want you to keep an eye on him Shota, he's hiding something and I want to know what it is. Mr. Aizawa just says understood before walking out the door, but I had already disappeared before he could see me. So Mr. Aizawa is now watching me, I have to keep my guard up. After school I started walking out the school with Momo. Thanks to school Momo and I no longer work at her father's company part-time, but he still pays us the same amount we would earn for working. He was quite adamant on it, 1 because Momo is his daughter and 2 because of who I am, and plus our families were close, so he treats me like his own son. We were walking and talking, laughing and just waiting to get home so we can hold hands and be a couple. We had decided not to announce our relationship publicly just yet. We did not want the attention and just preferred to be on the down low. Plus Momo is quite adamant that school is for school time, not making out. We were calmly waiting on Momo driver who said would arrive in a few minutes. Suddenly a hand grabbed my shoulder. I turned around to see it was the earphone ears girl was the one who grabbed onto my shoulder. If I remember correctly her name is Izuku. Kyoka Jiro, correct. Is there something you need? Momo. Who? Jiro. You're Momo Yaoyorozu, yes, nice to meet you. Midoriya saved my life during the entrance exam. I wanted to thank him for that. Oh, so that's why she is here. Izuku. Hey, it's no problem. I'm just glad you weren't injured and you even made it in our class. Congrats. Jiro. Thanks. Anyway, I was curious. She suddenly stopped speaking and looked down shyly playing with her earphone jacks before looking up and asking. Jiro. Do you both want to be friends with me? I was taken aback by the question and I looked at Momo who seemed just as shocked, but she smiled and nodded happily. When I saw that I smiled too. Izuku. Sure Jiro, we would love to. Jiro smiled hearing this. Jiro. Great. Anyway, I got to get to the station. I'll see you both tomorrow. She said quickly before leaving. Momo and I looked at each other before bursting out laughing. That's when we heard the honking of a car. We turned. It was Momo Butler with the limo. Our ride is here. We went to the car and got in, proceeding to kiss and make out with each other, after putting up the partition and window of course. My first day at UA and I managed to pass first in my tests and even gained a new friends. I'm curious what my path as a hero has in store for me. Meanwhile, on the scout ship, Psycho had already hacked into UA files and networks downloading all its information, and Jor-El is currently scanning through all of it to find any dark secrets or anything that could be a danger against his son. So far everything seems clean and fine until they discovered a file about the Hero Public Safety Commission HPSC. The file did not have much useful information other than one exception. It spoke about Nezu and practically all of the UA faculty members' distrust in the commission, considering them to be shady and corrupt. Jor-El. Psycho. Hack into the Hero Public Safety Commission. Make sure you are undetected. Download every file they have. I don't care how insignificant it seems. Hacking in now, sir. All files will be downloaded by this exact time tomorrow, sir. Jor-El. Nodded, already having a bad feeling. The file that speaks about UA distrust in them honestly made Jor-El think about Zod, who truly believed what he was doing was right. Jor-El had a bad feeling. This Hero Commission was doing something similar. He hooked up to the watch he and his son built from the scout ship, watching his son chatting and laughing with his mate. Jor-El. Be careful, Kal-El. You may face unnecessary challenges sooner than you think. Izuku Pav. You would think that at a hero school you would learn battle strategies or different kinds of villains we would face, maybe even hero history, but nope. Regardless of the name, a school is a school. The curriculum of UA High's hero course. Regular required classes like English in the morning, which is taught to us by Present Mike. His most recent lesson. Present Mike. There are 4 sentences on the board. Which of these English sentences is incorrect? Honestly, it felt so normal. And I could tell just at a glance the others felt the same way, bored out of their minds. Of course Present Mike noticed, and tried to lighten the mood as best he could. Present Mike. Everybody heads up, let's get this party started. Well, key word, he tried, but realistically, nobody cared. Well, except me and Momo. I didn't take it seriously. It seemed unnecessary at first, but then 2 things changed my perspective. First, my AI. How something I built made me see that I was wrong about something will forever be beyond me. Master. Being multilingual will assist you if you are to help people around the world. Not everyone speaks Japanese, some will be Russian or American, maybe even Guyanese. It's important to understand their languages so you can comfort them when necessary. Its words were logical yet so obvious. Why didn't I think of that? Whatever, there was no point bursting my brain about it. The next thing that changed my mind was Momo. Even now I shudder at what she did to me. Flashback. I'm on my knees shivering in pure terror as I watch my girlfriend burn my favorite hoodie to ash while scolding me. Momo. School is important. Do you think you will get a hero license without finishing UA? What did you decide you don't want to be a hero anymore? Do you not want to work together as a hero couple? I don't dare look Momo in the eye right now. It does not matter that she can't physically harm me. It does not matter that I'm faster, stronger and can see farther than she ever will. Never piss off a woman. That is a fear so terrifying, I'd rather experience death 100 times over. Thankfully that day Momo was generous enough to let me off with a warning. Her tone was so sickly sweet and calm that I swore for a moment I saw an actual demon behind her glaring at me like it wanted my soul. Momo, Izu, if you don't start taking school seriously from this moment forward, I will never cuddle or kiss you again, okay? I froze hearing this before nodding quickly like an obedient puppy. Izuku, yes ma'am. Flashback over. Needless to say, I took my classes very seriously. I also had to mourn the loss of my hoodie. Well, to be fair, my mourning phase only lasted an hour since Momo made me a hoodie which was much more comfortable and even had my Kryptonian family symbol on it. I went to look in the mirror wearing both the hoodie and a green track bottom, figuring I would wear it for my training with Dad. It looked really good. Anyway, lunch is at the main cafeteria, where we can buy gourmet food for reasonable prices. This food is actually served by the cook hero Lunch Rush. Lunch Rush, rice is a good comfort food, isn't it? That's what he asked when serving our table food. Momo and I just looked dumbfounded. Jiro just nodded, answering with simple, yeah. I was honestly wondering the answer to the question myself. I truly was not sure, so I did the only thing I could think of. Izuku, psycho scan the web and find the answer to this question. Is rice a good comfort food? Scanning web for answer. Correct answer yes. Rice is widely considered a good comfort food because it is warm, filling, affordable, and versatile, providing a sense of comfort and warmth through its simple, satisfying nature and ability to be incorporated into many dishes that evoke a feeling of home and connection. I thanked Psycho, now knowing a good choice of food if Momo is ever feeling down. In the afternoon, we finally have hero basic training. We were all sitting down patiently waiting on our teacher, who we actually have no idea who or where he or she is. Suddenly my super hearing picks up quick footsteps speeding towards the door. I glare at the door, ready to use my heat vision just in case, until whoever is behind the door suddenly yells. Question mark, quote. I am. I recognize the voice in that shout instantly, so I calm down as he opens the door chest first with his signature smile, wearing what I believe is his Silver Age hero costume. I don't really remember. What I can say though. All Might. Coming through the door like a normal person. That was the most unnormal entrance to a room possible. Of course all of my classmates were gasping in excitement seeing the #1 hero here. It's not surprising given how famous All Might is, and the fact that he is literally #1 in the world. Kaminari. It's All Might. Hiroshima. Wow, he really is a teacher. Asui. That's his costume from his Silver Age, correct? So it was his Silver Age costume. Glad I wasn't wrong, I guess. Ojiro. Its style is so different it's giving me goosebumps. Bruh, it's just a suit, it's not that deep. To be honest, I don't hate All Might. Not at all. I just don't look up to him the same way I once did anymore. I believe he is a good hero, a good person, and the world would be a much better place if there were more people like him. I just can't forget how he looked me in the eye and said I could not be a hero without a quirk. I'm not stupid though. I know he was worried. Looking back on it, I could see the guilt in his eyes when he said, I guess he thought he was trying to protect me, which explains his statements too, but I just can't. Call me selfish, or petty, I don't care. I believe everyone, quirk or no quirk, has the potential to be whoever and whatever they want to be. Who cares if they are not as famous as others? Who cares if they can't do what others do? They can still do amazing things, and I will always believe that. It's one of the reasons I love wearing the symbol of the House of L, not just because it's my family symbol, but because it means hope, the fundamental belief in the potential of each person to be a force for good. I don't care that Momo can't fly like I can. That's what planes are for. I don't care if she can't run as fast as me. That's what cars and bikes are for. I don't care if I can't make a sword out of my body like her. I'll do it the other way. Just because one person does not have something that makes it easier for another does not mean they cannot do it, period. It just means that have to work harder. So to me, for him to say that means everything my family stood for, everything I believe in meant nothing, so I could never look at him the same anymore. To me, he is just a stranger, who happens to be my teacher, so I will respect him as such, which is why I gave him my full attention as he walked up to the podium, the same as the rest of the class. All Might. I will be your teacher for hero basic training. In this class you will train in different ways to learn the basics of being a hero. You will take the most units on this subject. Now then, let's get right to it. What you will be doing today is... He suddenly pulls out a white card that says battle on it. All Might. Combat training. Kacchan suddenly had an exited smile on his face. Kacchan. Combat. I had a calm look on my face. Izuku. Training. All Might. And now to go with that are these. He points at a wall and suddenly parts of the wall open revealing briefcases with numbers on it. All Might. Costumes made based on your quirk registrations and requests you sent and put on your applications. The class all cheered exited to wear their costumes. I look at my watch exited too. I've worn my suit before, I've flown in it before, but it will be the first time I actually fight in it. It'd be lying if I said I was not exited. All Might. Young Midoriya. Izuku. Huh, I look at All Might who called me. All Might. You never put in your quirk information or gave any designs for your hero costume. For now wear your PE uniform and then after class, head down to the support course and recommend some ideas to them. Huh, what is he talking about? Oh, wait, does he think? Izuku. Sir, I did not request anything because I have a hero costume already made. All Might held the entire class, well except Momo, looked shocked by my statement. All Might coughed in his hand regaining composure. All Might. Oh I see, sorry for the assumption, well put on your hero costume with the rest of the class. After you all change, gather in ground beta. Class A. Yes sir. After that we all head to the changing rooms and get in our hero costumes. Is what I would say if I went with the others. I just go to a secluded corner before pressing the button on my watch activating the nanobots which begin to materialize my suit on my body. I then float above the tunnel looking at All Might who is standing in ground beta, hands on his hips, a smile on his face as he waits. A few seconds later, my classmates start walking out of the tunnel looking all cool. All Might. They say that clothes make the man, young men and ladies. Be full aware, from now on, you are heroes. Soon enough all of Class 1A come out, standing in poses in their hero costumes. All Might. That's great everyone, you all look so cool. On that we agree All Might, they really look awesome. All Might. Now, shall we begin, you zygotes? Huh, did they just forget me, and what is a zygote? Momo quickly raised her hand. Momo. Sir, Izuku is not here yet. Thanks babe, I can always count on you to remember me, anyway I take this as my cue and float over. Izuku. I'm right here. The class and All Might look up to see me levitating there in my hero costume, my cape blowing with the wind, the sun shining down as I smile at them. Class A. Whoa, they all looked at me in awe, I practically saw stars in Jiro eyes. Of course I ignored a certain blonde explosion boy glaring with murderous hatred at me. All Might. You look amazing young Midoriya, and you even pulled off a hero entrance. Well done. Now join up with the class so I can explain the exercise. I nodded and floated down next to Momo who was blushing while looking at me. I blushed seeing her costume before shaking the blush away and smirking at her. Izuku. See something you like. Momo blushed harder clearly embarrassed. Momo. Izu. And nod in front of everyone. I giggle, God she is so cute. I then start to pay attention to All Might letting her recover. All Might. Now it's time for combat training. Ida raised his hand. Bro he is dressed like a damn robot, the white armor is kind of crazy, but hey he looks dope plus I'm not the type to judge so yeah. Ida. Sensei. This is a battle center from the entrance exam, will we be conducting urban battles again? All Might. No we are moving 2 steps ahead. You see, most times villain fights will take place outside, however if you look at the total number, the more atrocious villains appear indoors at a much higher rate. Imprisonment, house arrest, backroom deals, in this society filled with heroes, the truly intelligent villains, hide in the shadows. For this class you will be split into villains and heroes, fighting 2v2 indoor battles. Asui then asks with a tilt of her head. Asui. Without basic training. All Might. This is a real battle to understand these basics. However, the key this time, is that there are no robots you can just destroy. Once All Might said that statement questions began to fly. Momo. How will wins and losses be determined? Kacchan. Can we beat them up anyway? Uraraka. Will the punishment be expulsion like with Mr. Aizawa? Ida. How shall we be split up? Aoyama. Isn't this cape crazy? Bruh, that has nothing to do with this, I thought, looking at Aoyama. All Might was trembling, clearly overwhelmed by the questions, but he took a breath. All Might. I'll answer all of your questions. Then my guy actually pulled out a script, an actual script, like bro, seriously, you didn't have this planned out already? All Might. The situation is that the villains have hidden a nuclear weapon somewhere in their hideout. The heroes are trying to dispose of that. The heroes need to either capture the villains or get the nuclear weapon before the allotted time. The villains need to protect the nuclear weapon for the whole time or defeat the heroes. This situation kind of feels American. All Might then holds up a yellow box. All Might. Teams and opponents will be determined by drawing lots from this box. Ida. They're decided so haphazardly. Does Ida not know? Izuku. Ida. Pros often have to create makeshift teams from other agencies, so this is most likely the same principle. Ida. Oh, the discernment to look ahead. Please forgive my rudeness. He bowed to All Might for his rudeness while I'm here trying to figure out how the hell asking a simple question is considered rude. All Might. It's fine, let's do this quickly. We all drew lots and the teams were made. Team A, Izuku, Midoriya and Uraraka. Team B, Todoroki and Shoji. Team C, Momo and Mineta. Team D, Kacchan and Ida. Team E, Ashido and Aoyama. Team F, Kota and Sato. Team G, Kaminari and Jiro. Team H, Asui and Tokiyami. Team I, Ojiro and Hagakure. Team J, Siro and Kirishima. Uraraka runs up to me, all smiles, and exited. Uraraka. Let's do our best, Deku. I raise my eyebrow at the familiar nickname. Izuku. Deku. Uraraka. It's what Bakugo called you on the first day of school, he said. Deku, you bastard, if I remember correctly. Oh, so that's how she knows it, but she clearly does not know what it means. Izuku. Uraraka. You clearly do not know, but the name Deku is an insult Kacchan created to call me useless. Uraraka froze, clearly not knowing that before apologizing to me, guilt evident in her voice. Uraraka. Really? Oh, I'm so sorry. I just thought it sounded like Dekiru, meaning, you can do it. I didn't mean to insult you. I actually widened my eyes in surprise at that. I always hated the name Deku. I tolerate it from Kacchan because I know he will never change, so I tend to ignore it, but Uraraka made the word Deku feel like a compliment. So I smiled at her warmly. Izuku. You know, I didn't think of that. In that case, feel free to call me Deku. Uraraka smiles at me hearing this and nods before we both turn to All Might with the rest of the class as he is reaching into two boxes, one labeled heroes, the other villains. All Might. The first teams to fight will be these guys. He then pulls out two balls, one with the letter D, the other, the letter A. Great. Just my luck. Of course I'm going against Kacchan. God forbid I'm allowed to fight anyone else. I sarcastically thought while rolling my eyes. All Might. Team A will be the heroes, Team D will be the villains. Everyone else, proceed to the monitor rooms. Class A. Yes, sir. The class begins walking to the monitor room with All Might. Momo walks up to me with Jiro, who punches my shoulder. Jiro. We're rooting for you, bro. Momo holds my hands affectionately and kisses my cheek. Momo. Good luck, Izu. They then both walk off. I smile at their direction before my face becomes composed and serious. I don't even have to look to know Kacchan is glaring at me. I can feel it, but I'm not afraid in the slightest. If anything, I kind of feel annoyed. I calmly look at him with a serious expression, directly in the eye. His glare faltered. He seemed stunned, as if he could not believe I could look at him like that before he clenched his teeth, looking even angrier, but I didn't pay any more attention and just walked away. All Might. Villain team, you will go in first and set up. In the next 5 minutes, the heroes will break in and the battle will begin. Both teams nodded, but before the villain team went in, All Might stopped them, offering advice. All Might. Young Ida, young Bakugo, learn to think from the perspective of real villains. This will be close to a real battle, so go all out and do not be afraid to get hurt. If things go too far, then I will stop it. They both nodded and walked in. For some reason I felt very strange. I don't want to hurt anyone. I never did, but for some reason I really wanna hurt Kacchan. I shake the feelings away and focus. For the next 5 minutes Uraraka and I strategized. Uraraka, it's a lot of work to memorize the building's floor plan. Izuku, but it will be worth it, considering we can plan around it. Uraraka, you're right. You know, All Might is the same as he is on TV. Unlike Mr. Aizawa, it does not seem like there is any punishment, so we can relax more, can't we? Izuku, yeah, regarding the expulsion, something tells me that's just a Mr. Aizawa thing, however, I don't believe we can relax at all. Uraraka, Izuku, if we relax and don't think properly we are sure to lose. Kachan, sorry, Bakugo has always been hot-tempered and arrogant, so most likely he will come after me, pretty much ignoring Ida, who will most likely stay and defend the bomb. Uraraka just looks at me in surprise as I use my X-ray vision to find the bomb, which I do. It's on the top floor. Then I begin to explain. Izuku, there are 5 floors that make up his building, most likely to drain as much time as possible. The bomb will be put on the 5th floor. Depending on how long it takes to get to the top floor or how long it takes me to deal with Kachan, you may have to fight Ida yourself, and his speed will make things very annoying for you. My recommendation, stay out of sight and either touch him or the weapon first. Uraraka listened in awe, hearing my plan before nodding with determination. Uraraka, understood, but what about Bakugo? Isn't he the one who makes fun of you? Izuku, that's right, and unfortunately, he has the skill to back up anything he says. He's fast, strong, his quirk is versatile, and he worked really hard to get to the skill he is at now. However, I'm not losing to him again. Our fight is necessary. Uraraka just looked at the seriousness on my face before smiling. Uraraka, so it's a fated battle between rivals. Rivals, is that what we are, really? I wondered. I shrugged, about to say more, when suddenly we hear over loudspeakers. All Might, now let's start the indoor person-to-person combat training between Team A and Team D. Uraraka and I both look at each other and nod before heading into the building to initiate our plan. Meanwhile, in the observation room, All Might is standing at the front of the class with everyone staring at the giant holographic screen displaying multiple camera angles in the building, so show as much as possible. All Might, alright, everyone, you should all think as well. Young Midoriya, you put no quirk name or abilities on your register, meaning your quirk is a mystery to all of UA. I'm curious as to why you did so, and I will find out. For now, I will grade you like I would any other student. I don't play favorites when it comes to teaching, he thought in his mind with his usual heroic smile. No one pav. Izuku and Uraraka climbed through a window, infiltrating the building. Uraraka, we infiltrated successfully. Izuku, there are a lot of blind spots, so be careful. Master, your blood pressure is rising, you're angry. The warning from Psycho came unexpectedly, and for a moment Izuku furrowed his brows. Angry? Is that really the emotion he is feeling? I mean, at first he didn't really feel much when the teams or his match with Bakugo was announced, but then he started to remember how close he and Bakugo were. Hell, if someone were to ask Izuku back then, he would have proudly declared them brothers in everything but blood. But he ruined that. He hurt Izuku, he hurt other people, all for a reason so stupid as not having a quirk. It annoys Izuku, sure, but never got angry for it. Disappointed, absolutely. Sad, absolutely, but angry, no. He doesn't think so. Izuku built Psycho with Jor-El to never be wrong. The Kryptonian technology along with Izuku and Jor-El brilliant minds saw to Psycho being a perfect AI, not capable of rebelling and making it love and care for its master. Of course its scans could never be wrong. Its warning had come out of worry, and unfortunately Izuku ignored it. Izuku began walking with Uraraka following behind him as they walked through the building corridors, carefully checking around as to not get snuck up on. Izuku was using his X-ray vision, which is why he would see where Bakugo was coming from. What he did not notice was how much darker his face was becoming. The closer Bakugo got, the colder Izuku's face became. Uraraka noticed thought and was about to ask out of concern when suddenly, Izuku, he's here. Bakugo suddenly appeared, reaching and throwing an explosion aimed directly at the two. However, Izuku did not flinch in the slightest. He simply lifted part of his cape in front of Uraraka, protecting her, taking the full force of the explosion which covered him and the area in smoke. Uraraka became alarmed. Uraraka, Deku, in the observation room. Hiroshima, Bakugo, that's cheating. A surprise attack isn't manly at all. All Might. A surprise attack is a strategy too. They're in the middle of a real battle right now. Mina. Midoriya didn't dodge, he protected Uraraka, is he okay? Kaminari noticed something and said. Kaminari. Wait, look. In the fight. Bakugo. Come on, nerd, you have to do better than T. However, his words were cut off when the smoke cleared, revealing Izuku perfectly fine, the explosion not making a single scratch on his body. Hell, not even his suit looked the slightest bit damaged. The thing is, Izuku was uncharacteristically silent. His hair was covering his eyes, his body not even twitching. He stood perfectly still as if he were a statue, yet something felt off. Uraraka felt it. Bakugo felt it. It was like standing in a glacier. Izuku. Bakugo shook of the uneasy feeling he had and just charged, his rage overpowering every feeling he had. Bakugo. I won't hurt you so bad that they have to stop the fight, just close. Bakugo lunged, throwing a hand forward ready to throw an explosion right on Izuku, but Izuku just lifted one hand up, grabbing his hand like nothing and threw him across the room, making him slam into the wall with a loud thud. Bakugo. Ah gh. Uraraka smiled for a moment seeing that, but then her smile froze seeing Izuku's face. Normally, Izuku would appear confident, calm, hell, sometimes even detached and relaxed to the point it bordered on boredom. But this was none of those things. He seemed in pain, hurt, most of all angry. Bakugo was grunting, fighting the pain as he stood up. Bakugo. You damn nerd, you're gonna pay for that, you dog. However, his sentence was stopped short when he saw Izuku's eyes, and in that moment a deep chill go down his spine. It was a bone-chilling fear, something he had never experienced in his entire life. Izuku's eyes were glowing a deep red, full of coldness. He looked at Bakugo with such intensity, such coldness, it made it seem like he thought of Bakugo as nothing but a damn pile of garbage. Izuku slowly started to walk to Bakugo. Izuku, you really love to talk, don't you? Bakugo and Uraraka's eyes both widened, hearing the calm rage in Izuku's voice. Izuku, yet you're still so predictable. Uraraka, follow the plan. Go. Uraraka nodded before running of leaving the two. Izuku's attention was fully on Bakugo and his glare did not subside either. Izuku, you always start with a big right swing, your so-called signature beginning. I know that because I used to look up to you. I'd analyzed many heroes in the past. You were one of them, the one I respected more than All Might. Until you ruined it. Bakugo's eyes were wide, he was listening, but his anger was making him unable to registering the words Izuku was saying. Izuku didn't realize it yet, but Psycho was right, he was angry, angry that Bakugo betrayed him all those years ago, angry that Bakugo hurt him, angry that Bakugo hurt other people, angry at himself for being so weak all those years ago. Angry that Bakugo still has no remorse for the actions he did. And most of all, he is angry at the part of himself that still sees Bakugo as his brother, that still hopes they can go back to how things were, and hopes Bakugo will see him as a hero. These are the feelings that are driving Izuku right now, but of course he is unaware of them. Izuku, whatever, I'm not complaining. The past is insignificant. You wanted to fight me, correct? Izuku slowly starts to levitate off the ground, looking down at Bakugo from the sky. Izuku, then let's get it done. Bakugo slowly stood up before suddenly Ida's voice sounded from his earpiece. Ida, hey Bakugo, give me your status, what happened? Bakugo, already annoyed, tapped his earpiece. Bakugo, just shut up and defend. I am really angry right now. Ida, I'm not asking you how you feel. However, before Ida could get another word in, Bakugo muted the earpiece, leaving Ida talking to nothing. In the observation room, Hiroshima, what was Bakugo saying? You can't tell with just cameras fixed around with no sound. All Might, he is talking to his partner over a small wireless radio. You can bring that plus the building's floor plan as well as this capture tape. All Might held up white tape in his hand, showing the class. All Might, once you wrap this around your opponent, it shows that you've captured them. Mina, the time limit is 15 minutes, added to the fact that the heroes have absolutely no idea where the bomb is. Isn't the heroes team at like a huge disadvantage? All Might, yes, but it's the job of a hero to turn the table on whatever predicament they find themselves in. Besides, I'm sure Aizawa told you all right. Life is not fair. We heroes have to face predicaments like this or worse on a normal basis. It's why we fight and why we go beyond. Say it with me. Class A plus All Might, plus Ultra. Aoyama suddenly noticed something. Aoyama. Monsieur, Midoriya is. All Might looked at the screen with the rest of the class. In the fight, Izuku at speeds almost impossible to follow flew towards Bakugo, which to him made it seem like Izuku suddenly appeared in front of him and with absolute disrespect, did not even throw a punch. My guy causally placed his hand on Bakugo's chest and pushed him, sending him flying through multiple walls before finally crashing onto the ground. Izuku slowly flew towards him. Izuku, get up Kachan, you're not so weak you would lose to an attack like that. Sure enough, at Izuku's words Bakugo got up from the ground holding his chest where Izuku had pushed him in clear pain. However, Bakugo's rage intensified, he was beginning to see red. He suddenly screamed in rage and started launching explosion after explosion, hitting Izuku directly into the chest each time. However, Izuku was just calmly floating towards Bakugo, the explosions literally not even tickling him. No matter how he increased the power, or how much faster he was going, it had no effect. It was truly doing nothing to Izuku in the slightest. In the observation room, Sato, that guy's amazing. Zero, yeah, it's like Bakugo explosions are absolutely nothing to him. However, Jiro remained silent and placed a hand over her heart. She noticed how angry Midoriya seemed. It was the first time she had seen him like that, so she worried for her friend. Jiro, Midoriya. Momo was worried for her boyfriend but understood why. She knew her boyfriend had a bad habit of holding in his pain. She tried to get him to let it out so many times, but he always claimed he was fine, or he did not feel anything. Clearly this was the accumulation. However, as worried as she is, she truly believes in Izuku. She believes he will realize what he is doing before it escalates too much. In the fight, after a while Bakugo was sweating, his hands shaking clearly in pain. Clearly he exhausted himself using his quirk too much, yet even now Izuku was not even scratched. Bakugo was in pure disbelief. Not a single one of his attacks even scratched Deku. No, he can't be stronger. He absolutely can't be. Bakugo was panicking now, his mind simply unable to accept a reality that Izuku was stronger than him, so rage built up instead, a rage so fierce all he saw was red. Bakugo, hey, you tricked me, didn't you? Izuku looked at him, cold yet confused by the statement. Izuku, huh, Bakugo, was it fun tricking me all this time? Hiding your flashing quirk from me all these years? What do you think that makes you better than me or something? Izuku was actually rendered speechless. Is that truly what Bakugo believed? Did he not know Izuku at all? Izuku did not know how to feel. In this moment, he saw Bakugo as an absolute idiot. Meanwhile, Uraraka had finally found the room where the bomb is. As Izuku predicted, Ida was there standing guard. Uraraka found it. Now I just have to tell Deku and sneak by Ida and get the bomb, and we win. She had touched her earpiece intending to tell Deku where the bomb was until she noticed seeming distracted by something. Ida, Bakugo is a natural at being bad, but that fits this training perfectly. Then I must devote myself wholeheartedly to being a villain. That's right. This is another trial to turn me into a man who will not bring shame unto the Ida family. Become a villain. I must be dyed in evil in order to become a hero. He suddenly turned around and spoke in a voice he clearly thought was evil. Ida, I am extremely evil. He then started to laugh as a way that must have sounded evil to him, but it was just sad how bad it was honestly. Of course to Uraraka it was downright hilarious to the point she just straight up burst out laughing at it. He is taking this too seriously, she thought. Unfortunately, her laughing was too loud as Ida heard it. Ida, have you arrived? Uraraka. Exposed. Uraraka saw no point in hiding and just walked out in view. Ida, I knew you would come alone from the moment Bakugo ran off by himself. Your quirk allows you to make the objects you touch float. Unfortunately for you, I put away all the things that could remotely help you before you arrived on this floor. Now you can't play any little tricks. You have blundered, hero. Ida then begins to laugh, and it actually sounds like a decent villain laugh. Well, at least Uraraka thinks so. Uraraka, he's beginning to look like a villain. Back to the fight. Suddenly there was some kind of clicking sound. Bakugo clearly knew what it was because he smirked. Bakugo, it's loaded. Izuku, Bakugo smirked widely, holding up his hand, pointing his grenade glove towards Izuku. Bakugo, with how you used to stalk me, you probably already know, but my quirk explosion lets me secret nitroglycerin like sweat from my sweat glands and make it explode. But if they made these the way I asked, then these gauntlets will store the nitroglycerin inside them and release it. Before All Might could speak over the comms and stop him, Bakugo pulled the pin on his gauntlet, releasing a massive explosion that hit Izuku directly. It was so powerful the entire building shook from the force. Yet when the smoke cleared, Izuku was still standing. Izuku, that was a good attack if I was a different opponent, of course. Bakugo was frozen in pure disbelief. In the observation room, Mina, no way. Hiroshima, did that really just happen? Zero, that explosion, did nothing to him. Momo calmed her racing heart. Sure, she knew how powerful her boyfriend is, but still seeing him take that kind of attack head-on made her worried about him. Thankfully her worry was unfounded. All Might was shaking and shocked. He knew even at his prime he could not take an attack like that and come out unscathed. Sure, that's not to say it would hurt him much, but still he would have been bruised or burnt. But for Izuku to not even be scratched. How much power does he really have? In the fight, Uraraka worried voice came over Izuku comms. Uraraka. Deku, what was that? Are you alright? Izuku. I'm fine. As for Bakugo. Bakugo was trembling. Rage, fear, shock. So many emotions were raging inside him to the point where it was uncontrollable. All this kind of power, coming from who he considers a nerd, a weakling, a bug he could have squashed whenever he wanted. Yet now, no matter what he did, he was not able to even tickle him. He got even angrier. Bakugo, are you underestimating me? Izuku. Bakugo, you had stood in front of me like we're equals since we were kids. What the hell, Deku, did you think you were better than me this entire time? This was the statement that made Izuku flash a very bitter smile. He was wrong. He wanted to believe the brother he once knew was in there, underneath all that arrogance, but now he realized such a person did not exist. The entire time, even before getting their quirks, Bakugo thought Izuku was looking down on him. He never saw Izuku as an equal, he saw him as an annoying leech who dared to be around him. He was disgusted by him. That revelation hurt Izuku very deeply. All the rage, the hopes, the desires, they all vanished, replaced with pain. Izuku thought he had a brother once. That turned out to be a lie. It hurt him so much it actually brought a few tears in his eye. However, it also brought much needed clarity in Izuku's heart. The last shred of doubt, of hope, of love and hatred, it all evaporated in his heart, replaced with indifference. In his heart, Izuku put Bakugo in the same corner as All Might. Bakugo is now someone he used to know and is now classmates with. So wiping his tears, Izuku with a bitter smile simply said, Izuku, if that's truly what you believed all this time. Suddenly Izuku appeared behind Bakugo and gave a swift neck chop. The explosion boy never saw it coming, and he fell to the ground knocked out. Izuku, then you were never my brother. Izuku then pulled out the capture tape and wrapped it around Bakugo, and then he heard the announcement. All Might, Katsuki Bakugo has been captured, one villain remaining. Izuku then used his X-ray vision to look for Uraraka and found her. She was in a room with Ida. Clearly the stealth part of the plan failed as he kept zooming around the room with the bomb every time she seemed to come close. Now Izuku could easily just fly towards them and sneak in, touching the bomb. But now that he was no longer distracted by his feelings, he could think clearly and remember he does not want to stand out. He wanted Uraraka to do it. So he tapped his earpiece. Izuku, Uraraka, how are things going? Uraraka, I'm sorry Deku. Ida managed to spot me and he is too fast for me to use my quirk on him or grab the bomb. Izuku, don't worry about it. I'm one floor below you. Here is a new plan. I'm going to break the floor beneath you and Ida. In that instant I want you use your quirk on yourself and jump towards the bomb. Uraraka, you got it. Izuku then looked up and started counting in his mind. He flew off the ground towards the ceiling right below where Ida and Uraraka was. He pulled back his fist using about 20% of his strength. Izuku, Uraraka now. Uraraka, okay. Izuku threw the punch, destroying all of the floor below, creating an insane amount of wind pressure which traveled upward to the roof of the floor Ida and Uraraka was in and right through it straight to the clouds. It shattered all the glasses, but more importantly, Uraraka had her opening. Once Izuku had said okay, Uraraka had used her quirk on herself and jumped, and the second she did, the floor shattered, and the building began to shake. Ida held onto a pillar for dear life. Ida, what's happening? Uraraka, seeing her chance, ran with all her speed and jumped towards the bomb, quickly linking her fingers together, deactivating her quirk when she was in the air. Uraraka, release. The sudden weight made her fall instantly right towards the bomb, which she hugged. Uraraka, I've got it. Bomb retrieved. The building had finally stopped shaking, and Ida, who finally was able to stand, could only look on in shock as Uraraka hugged the bomb, meaning he failed. Ida, no, the weapon. Izuku flew in the destroyed ROM from below, looking at Uraraka holding the bomb, and smiled. Izuku, mission accomplished. Uraraka just smiled proudly. In the observation room, all of class was watching in disbelief at what just happened, some with their mouths agape, others with serious look on their face. All Might held the mic up to his mouth. All Might. Hero. The hero team wins. The silence in the observation returned to silence for a few seconds after that announcement, but then Kaminari broke it. Kaminari. What the heck? Midoriya is completely uninjured despite all those explosions. Uraraka is on the ground unable to move. Bakugo is completely knocked out. Momo looked at Izuku with a bright smile on her face. She truly believed he would not go too far, but this was beyond her expectations. She could tell Izuku emotions were surging. She could tell he was feeling betrayed, hurt, but more than anything, he had hope. Hope that there was a part of Bakugo that was still the person he used to know, the person he used to respect and believe in. Now he realized such a person never existed. It must have truly been a devastating blow. However, it also brought him closure. Now he completely moved on. He didn't snap and let his emotions get the better of him. No, he was trained to do better than that by Jor-El, but now, his heart won't feel these emotions anymore because he just overcame them. In other words, Izuku has already become stronger mentally. Momo. Congratulations, Izuku. All Might then walked out of the room towards the building. In the building, All Might had brought a stretcher robot for Bakugo to take him to the medical wing while also looking at Midoriya. Young Midoriya, who the hell are you? He thought grimly. The display of power Izuku showed today was more than All Might ever expected, and worse. From the explanation Aizawa had given him when he conducted the physical tests, it would mean Izuku was holding back the whole time. The thought caused sweat to roll down All Might's forehead. In the medical wing, Bakugo woke up around 10 minutes after being knocked out, feeling a sharp pain on his neck, most likely from being knocked out. Knocked out. Bakugo's body began to tremble and he looked at his right hand which began to shake violently. His face was absolute disbelief. His breathing became heavy, to the point he began to hyperventilate. His thoughts were horrifying for him. My right. Deku predicted it, but still let me hit him. I threw everything I had at him and it didn't seem to bother him in the slightest. Does that mean that even if we fight all out, Deku would completely beat? He thought, completely terrified by the mere thought itself. Suddenly he was pulled out of his thoughts when he felt a comforting hand on his shoulder. Suddenly he could breathe again and he looked to see All Might standing there. All Might. Glad to see you're awake, young Bakugo. Now if you can manage, come with me, it's time to review the results. Whether you win or lose. Looking back and learning from it is a part of life. Bakugo was still in a daze and just nodded, following him back to the observation room. Izuku Pav. I feel kind of ashamed of myself. I was trained to not let my emotions get the better of me, but I still let that happen. I also now understand that the person I considered my brother didn't exist in the first place. He simply couldn't have. If he did, there is no way he would have ever thought I would look down on him. He would know I looked up to him the whole time. He could have told me he was going to face hell and I would have believed in him, so for him to say that means I was nothing to him. No, worse, I was an obstacle to him. That hurt, much more than I expected, but it also helped me sort out my feelings. Master, are you okay? I looked at my watch, hearing Psycho's worried voice. It had detected my rising emotions and tried to warn me, but I didn't pay attention. Maybe if I did, Uraraka and I could have won in a more strategic way, or I wouldn't have wasted all that time with Kachan. Whatever. No use crying over spilled milk, and even though it all worked out in the end, I still learned from this experience. Izuku. Yes, Psycho, I am fine. Your adrenaline and heart rate have returned to normal. I am glad you are doing well, Master. Izuku. Me too, Psycho. Also thank you for warning me, I am sorry I didn't listen. It's okay master, it's my purpose to look after you. I then go to the observation room where All Might is waiting with the rest of the class including Kacchan who was uncharacteristically silent with his head down. Momo came up to me and cupped on of my cheeks with her hand. Momo, are you okay Izu? I smile gently at her and kiss her on the cheek. Izuku, honestly, I feel much lighter than before but thanks for worrying. Momo blushed smiling brightly before turning to All Might who was explaining the results of the match. All Might, the fact is, the MVP of this match was actually young Ida. Asui, wait it's not either of the winners, Ochako or Midoriya. All Might, well no, it's actually not, can anyone tell me why that is? Momo immediately raised her hand and from the look on her face, I knew we were in for it. Izuku, oh boy, Hiroshima, huh, what's wrong Midoriya? Izuku, oh nothing, just Momo about to wow everyone with her brilliance. All Might, yes young Uyorizu. Momo, that is because Ida adapted most to the context of the training. From watching the match, it appeared Bakugo was mainly acting because of his own personal grudge against Izuku. And it was absolutely foolish to launch such an large-scale attack indoors. In the same way, taking into consideration the damage Izuku would have received if he were anyone else, his plan was too rash and quite literally would have killed him. And like Bakugo, he let his personal feelings blind him to his actual goal. His display of power was impressive, but it also shows he could have ended the fight much faster than it actually did, wasting valuable time that could have been usefully used to assist his teammate. As for Uraraka, she let her guard down mid-battle and acted recklessly in the final moment. If the paper match was treated as a real weapon then she should not have jumped on it like that for risk of an explosion. Ida prepared for his opponent's arrival, assumed it would be a fight over the weapon which as a result made him late to the final attack. The hero team only won because they took advantage of the fact that this was training. They were practically breaking the rules. I just stared blankly at everyone who was absolutely flabbergasted by Momo perfect analysis. Knowing Momo as long as I have, I know her better than anyone, which of course includes how absolutely brilliant she is, when she is not being a cute bubbly airhead. Izuku, see, told ya. All Might, well, young Ida had parts of him he could have relaxed more, but yes that was correct. Momo, we should always start with the basics to develop the depth of learning. Strive to devote ourselves wholeheartedly. Otherwise, he cannot be top heroes. I give Momo a kiss on the cheek and whisper teasingly. Izuku, you know you're very cute when you're being all smart. Momo composed and brilliant demeanor vanished instantly and she blushed really hard becoming embarrassed. She buried her face in my chest and I pat her head affectionately completely ignoring the gasping Mina who smiled seeing a ship. All Might, alright let's change locations and start with the next match. Tackle this training when you think about what we just talked about. I stood next to Momo observing the rest of the matches. Strangely, ignoring Kacchan seemed easier to me. I mean before, I deliberately ignored him and was so convinced I moved on I ignored the racing of my heart every time he was close to me, but now, it felt like he was truly just another stranger. In any case, I watched the rest of the matches, but honestly none of them really caught my attention except for Todoroki. His quirk is powerful and he seems to know how to use it. Of course I also watched my girlfriend dominate her match. I also watched that little perv Mineta peeping up her hero suit. Stupid little bastard, I hate your stupid face. Now all of the battle trainings are done. All Might, congratulations to all of you. We didn't have any major injuries from anyone either. Best of all everyone took this seriously. For your first training event well done. Asui, to have a proper class after Mr. Aizawa class, kind of feels anticlimactic. All of Class 1A nodded at that. All Might, we're free to have proper classes as well. Well then I have some paperwork I need to finish. Change and return to the classroom. He then sped off. I narrowed my eyes, for a split second he looked, panicked. Is he alright? Kaminari. Whoa, All Might's amazing. Ojiro, why was he in such a hurry? Thank you, I'm not alone with this question, I thought. Mineta, so cool, I'm gonna hurt you, little bastard, lusting after my woman. Anyway after we all changed and went back to class everyone just mingled despite Mr. Aizawa saying we could leave whenever. Kachan left before everyone else. Honestly, I felt like following him, if nothing else, then to tell him everything about me. I felt like he deserved the truth, but Momo held me back and shook her head no at me. I simply sighed and using my watch activated a portal for me and Momo to my home where we cuddled and slept for the night. Today was certainly an interesting day. I was able to get over my feelings of hatred for Kachan and I got to use my super suit in a fight for the first time. I'm kind of excited for what else UA has in store for me. Izuku Pav. So I'm currently training. I'm running a simulation on my ship. I'm in a desert area. See, I'm blindfolded, not using my X-ray vision, relying only on my super hearing. I'm currently fighting what Dad calls Kryptonian demons. They're pretty ugly. They have razor-sharp teeth where their lips are supposed to be, their skin is black and their eyes are red. Maybe it's because of my powers, but they're not strong in the slightest. They're just a bunch of them and they're very annoying. I defeat 5, 20 more show up. I hear an attack coming from my left, so I step back feeling a gust of wind in front of me, indicating an attack just happened in front of me, so I reach out and grab what feels like the claw that had attacked and start spinning before throwing the demon in a random direction, making it crash into the ground a few meters away. I backflip, dodging a punch I heard coming from behind me and throwing a punch forward when I land, sending the demon flying. I am failing to understand the point of this training. Izuku. So what was the point of this training again? Jor-El. To help you master your senses. Kal-El. One thing you learn about, especially when fighting, is that enemies and circumstances are unpredictable. Even with the powers you possess, there may come a time when your enemy finds a way to make you unable to use your sight. I grab 2 demons by the back of the head and slam their heads together. Izuku. Which is why I'm wearing a blindfold. I feel a claw break on my back and I throw a kick behind me, knocking the demon down, though it doesn't matter. From the moment the claw touched me, it's to be considered a death for me, meaning I failed. I sighed in disappointment. Izuku. End simulation. The moment I say that, the ship obeys me and the simulation ends. I take off the blindfold and sit down, running my hands through my hair, disappointed in myself. This is only level 20 out of 100 different exercises I'm supposed to complete. How am I supposed to be a hero if I can't pass a simple training exercise? Jor-El. Cal, I don't expect you to master everything you're supposed to in one day. Even born Kryptonian warriors take decades to reach where you have now. Izuku. No, not just the training. You want me to focus on a single task and block everything else out. I can't do it. Look, all my life I juggled everything at the same time. My school, my farm work, my friendships, my talents. It's what everyone expected. Even my mom and other dad expected great things from me, and it's what I've always done. I can't just change who I am overnight. Maybe I'm not cut out to be a hero after all. Jor-El. You are a hero just as much as you are Kryptonian. No one is asking you to change who you are inside. Your abilities and hero spirit aren't in question at all. You just have to learn to be present and in the moment. Listen, life is a series of obstacles. It's not a question of can we manage them, but how. I know that, but there are just, Izuku, too many obstacles. Jor-El. Yes, sometimes they can come all at once. That does not mean we can conquer them all at once. Izuku. So what do I do, father? How do I focus on just one goal with so many other things going on in my head? Jor-El just smiles at me. Jor-El. You relax. Huh. Jor-El. You release. You find your center, only then will you be successful. I nod, trusting my father's words. Izuku. Begin simulation. The ship obeys and it forms a desert environment. I place the blindfold over my eyes as I hear the demons clawing up from the sand below. I take a deep breath and raise my hands gracefully, getting into a fighting stance. Jor-El. Focus on the exercise, block out the rest of the world. Allow the impossible to become possible. Your hearing can be focused and precise on what you want it to be. Focus on your enemies coming at you and defeat them. I hear one demon coming at me and I sidestep his attack just as another is coming from behind. I levitate up, making both demons crash into each other, and I let myself land hard on them, quickly getting up as more charged at me. They sounded slower than they did before, and strangely enough, I can see them, yet I'm not using my X-ray vision. I'm not seeing them in a normal sense, but it's like, I know exactly where they are. I can hear one of them twitching their claw. I can hear one of their teeth chattering behind me. I know exactly where all of them all. So I charge with my super speed and attack, front punch, roundhouse kick, leg sweep, followed my knife hand, hammer fist, back kick, palm heel strike, my personal favorite, I use my cape, and wrap it around one and throw them into a group of them. I moved with grace and confidence, defeating the hundreds of demons that surrounded me, without getting a single hit. One left. I don't even turn my head behind me, I just throw a punch behind me, making it fall to the ground. I let out a sigh as I take off the blindfold and look at father with a bright smile. He smiled at me too. Jor-El, congratulations my son, you have completed this level of your training. When you return we will begin level 21 inches. I am confused by that statement. Izuku, what do you mean when I return father, why not begin now? Master, you have 16 minutes and 12 seconds before school starts. I froze, looking at Psycho on my arm who just said that, finally remembering. I attend school. I quickly open a portal to my house saying bye to father, taking 10 minutes to shower and 2 minutes to put on my clothes. Why I didn't just super speed into them, because my dumbass didn't remember until I was already in my uniform. With 4 minutes to spare I open a portal to the gate of UA where a large crowd of people with cameras and microphones are waiting. Yeah, it's quite obvious why they are here. The news that All Might had been hired as a teacher of UA surprised everyone in the whole nation. The media descended on the school, hounding it for literal days on end. Everyone knew about it. Honestly, that kind of commitment for just one comment from the guy is quite worrying. The UA barrier is up too, meaning one of the people tried to enter UA. If someone tries to get in the school without a pass or a student ID, the security system kicks in. There are sensors built all over the school. It's for protection, just in case any villain is foolish enough to try and attack. I'm now in class with the others. 1 minute before class started. I cut it pretty close, but I made it in time, thank God. Momo, babe, you're normally earlier than this, what happened? I rub the back of my head, kind of embarrassed at being called out by my lover. Izuku, yeah, sorry, I was training with father and lost track of time, but hey, I did manage to reach the next level of my training. Momo just shook her head before kissing me on the cheek. Momo, next time, try to manage your time better, okay? I nod at her and ruffle her hair affectionately, making her giggle and swat my hand away. Jiro, geez, way to make a single people feel lonely. I look at Jiro, who is playing with her earphone jacks, looking at us with an amused expression. Izuku, well, good morning, and screw you too. Jiro just rolled her eyes and with a smirk gave me the finger before going to her seat. I swear, ever since we became friends, it's like it's her mission to piss me off, and it's honestly working. Momo and Jiro love to talk about whatever girl things they talk about. Can't say I really care, but when it comes to me and Jiro, boy, we love insulting each other. It's never physical because Jiro learned the hard way after punching my invulnerable body and shaking off a bruised hand glaring at me. I don't know why she glared. I didn't and won't throw a punch at her. Now she settles for getting under my skin, which somehow works, and it's so damn annoying. Well, anyway, Mr. Aizawa finally enters and puts down a tablet on the podium. Mr. Aizawa, good work on yesterday's combat training. I saw the video and the results. Bakugo, you are talented, so don't act like a brat. Kachan let out a grunt and looked away but nodded. It seems he was able to resolve whatever conflict was inside him. Good for him, I guess. Mr. Aizawa, and you Midoriya, you have a lot of potential and your plan was very well thought out, but next time don't let your emotions get the better of you. I nod at my teacher, understanding my mistake. Mr. Aizawa, now then, let's get down to homeroom business. Sorry about the late notice, but I'll have you. I heard the entire class take a sharp intake of breath. I can tell they are all quite nervous about whatever Mr. Aizawa is going to say. Most likely they're worried about another surprise special test like the first day of school. I highly doubt it's going to be that worrying. Mr. Aizawa, deciding on a class representative. I heard and saw the class let out sighs of relief. Obviously, it's just a normal school thing. I had a feeling it was something chill. Besides, even if it was some special test, why should I worry? I'll just deal with it when the time comes. Hiroshima, I want to be class rep, pick me. Kaminari, me too. Jiro, I want to do it too. I look at Jiro in a bit of surprise, but then I saw her flash me an evil smirk, making a literal chill go down my spine. Please, God pick anyone else but her, I thought. Aoyama. It's a job for me. Ashido. I'll be the leader. Mineta. My manifesto is for all the girls' skirts to be 30 centimeters above the knee. Kachan. Let me do it me. From what I've learned about public schools, in normal classes, students might feel like they are just taking on daily duties, and this would not happen, but when it comes to the hero course, the class president is a role that allows one to practice being a top hero by leading a group. I am honestly fine with anyone being leader as long it's not me, or Jiro. I don't really want to lead anyone, I'll just do it if I have no choice in the matter. As for Jiro, God only knows what horrors await me if she somehow gains power over me. Ida. Silence please. Everyone stopped yelling and looked at Ida, who straightened his glasses and said, Ida, it's a job with a serious responsibility of leading others. It's not a job for just anyone who wants to do it. It's a calling that requires the trust of those around you. If we want to use democracy to decide on who a true leader, then we should hold an election to choose one. His words are logical, his expression serious and determined. If his hand was not raised the highest and shaking desperately, I would truly believe that he believes in his words. Class A, your hand is raised the highest. My point exactly. Kaminari, why did you just suggest that? Asui, we have not known each other very long at all, how can we just decide who we can trust? Hiroshima, if that's the case and everyone votes for themselves. Ida, it's precisely why whoever receives multiple votes can truly be considered the most suitable person. What do you think, Mr. Aizawa? Mr. Aizawa was clearly ignoring everyone and got in his sleeping bag, zipping it up. Mr. Aizawa, I don't care as long as you decide before homeroom is over. Then he somehow fell asleep instantly. How did he do that? God, what I would give for a skill like that. Well, we all decided to vote and somehow, I don't know how, I managed to get 4 votes and Momo got 3. How did this happen? Izuku, how did I get 4 votes? Kachan, why Deku, who voted for him? Ask them again please, I thought. Zero, well it's better than voting for you. Oof, I felt that one. I looked over and saw Uraraka whistling quietly to herself. Oh, so she is one of the people who voted for me. God damn it, Uraraka. Ida was just trembling to himself. Clearly he was frustrated that he got no votes when the voting system was his idea. Why did he not just vote for himself? Ida, 0 votes. I knew this would happen. That is only to be expected of a person's calling. Momo, so you voted for someone else, huh? Izuku, he really did. Sato, but you wanted to do it too. What were you thinking, Ida? I thought, nodding. And so with a composed and lazy expression, because I would literally rather be anywhere else, I went to the front with Momo. Mr. Aizawa, so the class representative will be Midoriya, and the deputy class representative will be Yaoyorozu. I just sigh, mentally steeling myself for the extra work and effort I will have to put in. Momo, let's do our best, Izuku. Yay, I thought sarcastically. Asui, this might not be too bad. Kaminari, after all is said and done, Midoriya seems perfect for this role. Please don't say that, Kirishima, I thought, desperate. In the cafeteria, Momo, Jiro and I all walk into the cafeteria planning to eat together, and the first thing I notice is that there is a large group of people in the cafeteria. Jiro, there are a lot of people here today. Momo, that's because everyone in the hero course, management course and support course meet in the same place. I smirk, taking this chance to screw with Jiro, so with a raised eyebrow I playfully ask. Izuku, honestly Jiro, you didn't know that, you sure your brain is working today? It clearly worked because a tick mark appeared on Jiro's face and her eyebrow twitched before she said. Jiro, hey, I'm just surprised you didn't scare anyone away with that ugly mug of yours. Huh, oh this mother. Jiro and I glare at each other before Momo chops us both on the head. She of course did not affect me, but Jiro let out a small squeak from the phantom pain. Momo, enough tomfoolery, I'm hungry, so let's get something to eat. We each got food and sat down at a table eating before the reality of what happened in class hits me. I sighed and speak in a depressed tone. Izuku, I'm class rep. Momo, you'll be fine, your courage and judgment at critical moments makes you a great leader, plus you're working with me, aren't you happy? I sigh. Izuku, of course I'm happy, I'd rather someone else do it, that's all. Jiro, Oh, so you would have preferred that I be class representative. A shiver ran down my spine at the mere thought, so I deadpanned and looked at Jiro. Izuku, no, I would rather it be anyone else, even Kachan. Jiro's temper flared and she threateningly aimed her earphone jacks at me. Jiro, what did you just say? I sigh. I point at Momo. Izuku, I just really want to know how I got 4 votes, I voted for you. Momo blushed hearing that. Momo, me, Izuku, obviously, even excluding the fact you're my lover, you have always been a logical thinker and demonstrated leadership qualities, even when we were kids. Momo smiled hearing that and Jiro sighed. Jiro, well Midoriya, one of your votes were actually from me. I did a double take hearing that. Izuku, I thought you wanted to be class rep, why vote for me? Jiro, well because during the battle training, you made an excellent plan that would have worked perfectly if not for your anger blinding you, plus you made many improv plans during the fight too, plus I knew from when you saved me in the entrance exam you were going to be an important hero to the world someday. Even now I'm sure of it, and not to sound corny or anything, but when I'm around you, I want to follow you, to walk by your side, no matter what. My eyes widened hearing that. She said it with so much certainty and determination that part of me truly believed it. I felt happy and my heart skipped a beat. Izuku, thank you Jiro. She smiled at me warmly before the smile turned teasing. Jiro, yeah no problem, mophead. Oh that is it. However, before I could do anything, an alarm goes off and an automatic voice sounds. Alarm! There has been a level 3 security breach, all students please evacuate outdoors promptly. I look at my watch and ask Psycho quickly. Izuku, what is a level 3 security breach in UA? It means someone is trespassing on school grounds. Jiro, ow. I look at Jiro who is covering her ears to the loud alarm. I quickly walk over and help her cover her ears before looking at Momo. Izuku, Momo look out the window and find out who trespassed in the school. Momo, right, she walks to the window and her eyes widened. Momo, it's just the press. Seriously, I thought. I use my super hearing and it picks up many things, some teachers in their rooms, all the students in the hallways pushing and trying to rush out in a panic, someone in the file room, most likely another teacher, and then finally the press outside demanding all might. Well, now that I'm certain no villain is trespassing, I need to find a way to calm everyone down, but I can't leave Jiro here either. What do I do? Think. Wait. That's it. Izuku, Momo, help Jiro cover her ears, I have an idea. Momo nodded, trusting me unconditionally, coming over to help Jiro. I then float off the ground and fly in the hallway and I yell to gain everyone's attention. Izuku, everybody stop. All the students stop and look at me in the air and I continue. Izuku, it's just the media, there is nothing to panic about, everything is fine. We are in UA for Pete's sake, we need to act like future heroes and not scared little children. I then hear police sirens and look towards the window, seeing the police outside. I pointed out. Izuku, look, the police are here, not, you can relax. With that everyone calmed down and all went back to their respective classes. I sighed in relief and flew back to Momo and Jiro. The alarm had finally stopped, so she no longer had her ears covered, though it did seem she had a small headache. Once I was once again on the ground, I walk up to her and ask. Izuku, are you alright Jiro? Jiro nodded. Jiro, I'm just glad the alarm finally stopped. Thanks for helping me, you too. Momo and I both nod, letting her know she does not have to worry before helping her to class. The remaining of the day went normal, and Momo and I went home happily. Yet something felt off. I felt uneasy about something, but I just brushed it off and went about my day. I should have trusted that feeling. Hell, I was taught to trust that feeling. Maybe if I did, then maybe what happened next could have been prevented. To be continued. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and make sure to like and please hype this video. Now we will see you in the next video.